Шила Гурудева ки джай. Давайте поприветствуем. Let's welcome Шила Гурудева.
Jai Shila Gurudev.
Шила Гурудева. Джай.
Shila Gurudev.
Come Gurudev. Kapcsolatlanul. Hare Krishna Shila Gurudev. Please accept my humble obeisances, all glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to you. We are so happy to be here with you today. Thank you so much for the opportunity for this association. So today, if you are ready, we are also ready. So we're going to start with Avaduta Roy Prabhu, who is going to talk about the meaning of the Vyasa Puja.
Jai Shila Gurudev. Dearest Shila Gurudev, please accept my humble obeisances, all glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to you. When we meditate on the meaning and significance of Vyasa Puja, we are immediately reminded that the Guru, our beloved Srila Gurudev, is the representative of the sacred disciplic succession originating from Srila Vyasadeva, the literary incarnation of the Lord and the compiler of the Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam. The legacy of this sacred chain of spiritual masters is none other than delivering the suffering humanity from the forest fire of the material energy by engaging them in devotional service to Lord Sri Krishna, as instructed by Sri Narada Muni, the spiritual master of Sri Vyasa and the entire universe. As Srila Prabhupada confirms in a class given in Fiji on May 2nd, 1976, quote, Guru's first business is to deliver the suffering humanity from the forest fire of this material existence. This material existence is compared with forest fire. You know there is fire in the forest. Big forest, nobody goes there to set fire, but automatically there is fire. Sorry. Therefore, this material existence has been compared with the forest fire. Here, everyone wants to become happy, but there is fire. Even if we don't want, there is fire and miseries. Because this place, this material world, is a place for suffering. So therefore, the Guru's business is to deliver the disciple from the suffering condition, unquote. This all perfectly applies to you, dear Srila Gurudev. Ever since you have received your personal instruction from Srila Prabhupada to preach boldly and have faith in the holy names, you have been unstoppable in delivering everyone you meet. Your travels as a sannyasi and as a spiritual master have taken you all over the world, and you were a pioneer preacher in numerous places such as France, the Mediterranean countries, Poland, Russia, South Africa, the Amazonian jungles, to name but a few. Our lives have taken the most significant turn when we were fortunate enough to meet you during one of your many visits to Hungary. Some of us remember your kirtans and classes at the nationwide festival tour of 1992, or at Eurovostock in 1994, or at the nationwide Namhata tour of 1995. I personally will forever cherish the memories of your first ever visit to Agar in 1995, when you and Sri Prabhu engaged the hundreds of youngsters gathered in a most blissful kirtan for hours on end, and then you gave the sweetest class on Sanatana Goswami's touchstone, sending us home with the gift of the holy names of Sri Krishna. That single program alone indeed had a touchstone effect. Chaitanya Prabhu, our temple president at the time, recounts that he had sold about 700 sets of japamalas to the Agar youth in the following couple of years. And of course, you have given so much to the entire Hungarian Yatra in the past 30 plus years. Budapest, New Virgin, Eger, and many other centers are eternally grateful to you for the wonderful and inspiring preaching you have done here and the association you have given to thousands of non-devotees and devotees alike, including your disciples. Your association and preaching are always imbued with a special, very sweet mixture of personal qualities that have endeared you to us forever. You are a natural leader, a passionate general commanding the troops in Lord Chaitanya's army. You are a gifted speaker and storyteller, a caring and loving father and friend, a humble servant of your godbrothers and god sisters. But most importantly, one can feel your urge to make the whole world Krishna conscious because your heart is melted by your compassion. And so you are ready to take on the fiercest challenges in delivering the message of the Bhagavatam to the most fallen. I'm 100% sure that if you open your chest like Hanuman did, the world could see Srila Prabhupada's original instruction to you inscribed there, preach boldly and have faith in the holy names. But while preaching is your heart and soul, you are also a Rasika Bhakta at heart, and it's only natural. The more one absorbs himself in preaching the glories of Krishna, the more one's desire to reside in Krishna's holy Dham and hear about his pastimes increases. As they say, home is where the heart is. Once I asked you in Dublin what your favorite place in the whole wide world was. To be honest, I expected you to perhaps name Poland, where your most successful festival program had been going on for decades, or perhaps France, where you pioneered Krishna consciousness with tremendous success on the streets of the world's headquarters of sense enjoyment. But you turned to me and replied without a moment's hesitation, my favorite place is Vrindavan. And so I could understand that you were instructing us in striving for balancing preaching and going deep in our Krishna consciousness. While we get Srila Prabhupada's and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mercy by preaching on the streets of Kali Yuga, we also need spiritual inspiration by absorbing ourselves in hearing the glories of Sri Krishna in the most sacred land of Brajabhumi, Sri Vrindavan Dham. And even though right now we can't physically visit Braj due to COVID restrictions, you kindly share your realizations on Braj Bhakti with us through your online webinars and give us the knowledge how to get out of the forest fire of material existence. I would like to conclude by saying that the outstanding quality of your service as a spiritual master to Srila Prabhupada and the Guru Parampara, right up to Srila Vyasa, is perhaps the most reflected in the swan-like qualities of your illustrious disciples, who like to hear and like to preach, like father, like sons and daughters. As Srila Prabhupada explains, when Narada Muni chastised Vyasadeva for compiling literature that would only be enjoyed by crow-like people, not by swan-like personalities, Vyasa set out to compose the Grantaraj, the king of all literature, the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is indeed enjoyed by the swan-like devotees. Your disciples are like walking Bhagavatams who enjoy hearing and distributing Srimad Bhagavatam, just like you do. This way increasing the number of swan-like personalities while also going deeper into their own Krishna consciousness. On this most auspicious day of your Vyasa Puja celebration, I would like to thank you on behalf of your Hungarian disciples for saving us from the forest fire of the material energy. By engaging us in devotional service to Sri Krishna, as it was originally instructed by Srila Vyasadeva and Narada Muni. Srila Gurudev Ki Jai, the servant of Advaita Vyasa.
Thank you so much, Avadhuta Roy, for your beautiful words and touching words, actually. Yeah. And now I would like to ask Srila Gurudev to do the short address. Yes, a Puja address, if you're ready.
Short for me means 2 hours.
So we need to sit here. We don't mind. All day, actually.
Gurudeva Ki Jai.
Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pashtaya Bhutale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namane, Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pacharine, Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pastata Deshatari. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Well, I think I have the longest Vyasa Puja celebration in the world. To give facility for all my disciples to reveal their hearts to me and me to reveal my heart to all of you, we've been having Vyasa Puja with a different yatra, meaning a country or region now for a long time. I think even before my birthday, May 20th, we were celebrating my birthday. But this is important because this is a movement of love, actually. One of my godbrothers said one time, this is a movement of love disguised as philosophy. We're preaching a lot of philosophy around the world, distributing books, etc., etc. But behind it all is the desire to awaken our dormant love, our natural love, for Krishna's devotees, who are very dear to Krishna, for our spiritual masters who are delivering us from the ocean, the vast ocean of material existence, to Srila Prabhupada, the master whose feet all masters sit, and of course, hopefully one day to for Radhe Shyam. So this is an important part of that procedure, where we come together and on this Vyasa Puja celebration. So although we've been separated for a long time now, I mean, it's been at least a year and a half or 2 years, or I can't even remember when I had the good fortune to be back in Hungary, the lotus feet of Gornitai in Budapest, and then of course Radhe Shyam in New Brajadam. But at the same time, we're all intimately connected, very intimately connected. That bond can never be broken. The guru-disciple relationship cannot be broken. It's always there, and it's mainly nourished, as I've often said, through the exchange of knowledge. Just like my spiritual master, Srila Prabhupada, he passed away many years ago, in the 1970s, and we're already into the next millennium. But I feel more connected with him than ever, because I'm constantly hearing from him. That's the connection to knowledge. Constantly hearing from him about the futility of material life, so we don't get tempted to go back. Why would anyone go back anyway? But the spiritual master reveals the futility of material existence and the wonderful alternative of Krishna consciousness, not only in the spiritual world, but even in this planet. One can be perfectly happy even on this planet, which is part of Dukkalayam Shashvatam, the temporary world full of so many sufferings, if one is fully absorbed in Krishna consciousness. Just like Arjuna. We read from, in Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, he describes in his one of his books, that during the battle of Kurukshetra, a very fierce battle, everyone died except the Pandavas. That's a pretty fierce battle. On both sides, everyone died, and death is never a very wonderful experience. So, but there were arrows and missiles and brahmastras being thrown. But whenever a missile or whenever an arrow would penetrate the body of Arjuna, because he was so absorbed in his service, Krishna said, that he should fight. He was a Kshatriya. So his duty was to uphold dharma, Sanatana Dharma, the dharma of reviving our lost relationship with God, with Krishna. That's our ultimate dharma or duty. So he had to protect the innocent of society, the Brahmins, the ladies, the cows, the animals. Innocent, Prabhupada refers to them as innocent members. They cannot defend themselves against the asuras like Ravana or Kamsa, Shishupal. So he was doing his duty. He had that, Krishna said, I am the ability in man. So Arjuna was a fighter. So he was fighting, so much absorbed, remembering Krishna in the midst of his duties. He was so absorbed in Krishna consciousness. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says he felt the arrows to be like flowers, like someone throws flowers on you. Does that hurt? No, it's a blessing. Stop that. That's a real blessing to have someone throw flowers on you. So the onslaughts of material existence for devotees who's absorbed in serving his spiritual master, serving our founder Acharya, we don't feel the onslaught of material existence. And what is the connection? My guru, Bapu, left a long time ago. When I was an infant, I was a baby in spiritual life. But I feel very connected to him because the connection is there through the exchange of knowledge. Therefore, we have to find time. We have to find time for many things in Krishna consciousness. You get out of something what you put into it. That's just Niti Shastra, that's logic. If you want to be an athlete, you have to work out. If you want a PhD, university, you got to study. So you get out of something what you put into it. So in the end, at death, it will be judged what we put into our efforts to become Krishna conscious. We have to make time. They have different management books about how to manage your own time, how to manage companies, how to manage, and it's all about discipline. Setting your priorities, and then disciplining yourself to find the time. And that's absolutely true in Krishna consciousness. Of course, Prabhupada set up a wonderful society and a time table for all of us, morning program, including our morning Gayatri, noon Gayatri, evening Gayatri, 16 rounds minimum, encouraging us to read, to share Krishna consciousness. But still, there's so many other things you have to do. There's body maintenance. It's a polite way saying we have to take care of these bodies. Body maintenance, our social life. We have taxes to pay. So many things we have to do. And it sometimes seems they're more urgent than the business of sadhana. But time will tell who stood and who fell. And therefore, to protect ourselves and make sure we make it back to Godhead, we have to hear, Shravanam, Kirtanam, Krishna Smaranam. And therefore, during this last year and a half, it seems like eons of time, my responsibility has been to speak, to study, and to speak. That's what the Guru does mainly. He studies, like Brahmanas. I would mention in another lecture how Brahmanas in India, they don't work with their hands and build temples like Sudras. They don't necessarily go out in the early morning and milk the cows and then, check over the balance of their businesses. They're not fighters, they're not UFC, fighters trying to gain glory in like cage fighting they have. No, Brahmanas, they read and then they become the mouth of God. Brahmanas are considered the mouth of God. They're not God, but they're the mouth of God in this world. They just sit and they talk, and they talk, and they talk, and they talk. Because whereas in the material world, every subject matter has a beginning and an end, like everything material has a beginning and an end. So, but Krishna consciousness is ad infinitum. It's infinite. Ananta Shesha, he's coming up with a new name of Krishna every second. Every second. Gokula Ranjana. Yasamati Nandana. Dorkadish. He has someone, and he never repeats the same name twice. So because God is infinite, knowledge about God and his pastimes are infinite. So a Brahmana, you can't stop him. He can go on and on and on and on. They have those Bhagavad Saptas here in India that speaker goes on for 12 hours a day for a whole month. And even then you have to drag him off the asana. Baba, it's over. You spoke 1 month. But I only finished 1 verse. Commentary. My good friend, what was his name? The Muslim name. Fakir Mohan, Gaudiya Vaishnava. He spoke for 2 years. 2 years. Every day on the same verse from Bhagavatam, which was glorifying the holy name. He never said the same thing twice. This is Brahmana. Devotees want to be Brahmanas, but Brahmanas characterized by his eagerness to absorb knowledge and his eagerness to speak knowledge. So that I learned this last 1.5 years. You know, I used to be footloose and fancy-free. Even when I was a teenager, I wanted to be footloose and fancy-free. I don't know if you can translate that into Hungarian or Russian. But that I did for 50 years. And then Radharani slammed the door when I was in Vrindavan and the coronavirus started. I couldn't even go out of my house. I was pacing the room back and forth what to do. But then I thought, what is my responsibility now? I've preached so much to the non-devotees. Let's boil the milk. And that was Prabhupada's term. Boil the milk, take care of the devotees. Because the devotees are our best, our most important, precious asset. You can have everything in place. All the temples, all the books published, all the money in the bank. If you don't have any devotees, what does it mean? Prabhupada came to make devotees. To make devotees. And several times in the process of pushing on the Sankirtan movement, he slowed it, whoa, like you have your horse, right? You're riding your horse, and at one point, whoa, Nelly, whoa, slow down. So devotees don't know that. Well, they don't maybe remember that there were several times when Prabhupada was amongst us. Whoa, Nelly. He slowed everything down. He said, just read, just chant. Managers go around. He said one time he said, it's even in a letter, one time the most important duty of the GBCs is to make sure devotees are chanting the 16 rounds, following the regulatory principles, and studying our books. GBCs, they have a lot to do. And Prabhupada, that's the first thing. And Prabhupada was always concerned about us, not just spiritually, but materially, in the sense he would sign his letters. I hope this meets you in good health. What? I'm not the body. But Prabhupada knew unless the body was fit and sound and healthy, no one could go on with service. So I consider this last 16 months to be one of the most important parts of my career. I went out and I threw all the seeds, the Bhakti Lata Bijas, like we have in America, Johnny Appleseed. Johnny Appleseed, he was a historic person actually, it's history. He started walking from the East Coast towards California, from New York to California, with a big bag of apple seeds. And everywhere he'd go, he would throw the apple seeds. People said, "What are you doing? Throwing these little brown seeds everywhere." But he had a vision for the future. And now you walk the same trail that Johnny Appleseed walked from New York to California. It's all apple trees. And now you can pick the apple, offer it to Krishna, eat it if you please. Big juicy red apples. What's life without nice fruits? So, like that, for whatever reason, Prabhupada instructed me to spread the seeds. And what are the, when you spread the seed, then, okay, you have to tend the garden, make sure there's no weeds, choking the seeds, choking the tender creepers. So in the same way, the spiritual master, he has to protect his disciples. He plants the seed and they begin to grow, but because we've been in the material world for such a long time, we have to expect there's going to be some weeds there. No one should be embarrassed if they have material desires. Sometimes we may slip, sometimes we may fall, sometimes we may make a mistake. It's because of the powerful nature of this material world, because of our past desires in this world, Maybe we're not so attentive in our sadhana for some time. It's to be expected. If you're a mom or a dad, you know how many times you put a Band-Aid on your son's elbow or your daughter's knee when she fell off her bike. So Guru's like doctor, he's like psychologist, he's like teacher, he's like coach, he's like guru. I never knew this. I had to become a psychiatrist. I had to become a dad, literally a dad, to give emotional support to sons and daughters who are going through a difficult patch. I have to give money sometimes. Often I give money to my disciples who are going through a hard time. It's many roles all rolled into one. That takes time and experience, actually. But that's been my greatest pleasure. Bhaktivinoda Thakur said one time that, "My Lord, difficulties encountered in your service, those are my greatest pleasures. To solve the problems of others, disciples and people in general, that I have found is the greatest pleasure in Krishna consciousness." I will admit to you, my eyes don't overflow with tears of prema when I chant Hare Krishna. When I see the deity, I don't exhibit the 8 symptoms of ecstatic love of God and fall unconscious on the ground. But I do love my disciples, and I do love the people. And really, that's what I live for. That's what I live for. Nothing more, nothing less. And I can do that for many births. I can say that confidently because, whatever you do, whatever you say, it's recorded. People don't realize that. Yamaraj has his scribes, and they're like pretty powerful people, and whatever every human being does, it's all recorded. Not only what you do, what you say, but what you think. And on Judgment Day, when you die, at Judgment Day, they pull out the scrolls and they read it before Yamaraj, and then either you get sentenced or you get freed, mukti, or you get bhakti, you go back to Godhead. So I can make a statement like that in front of the devotees. All right, guys, get your pens out. I don't mind coming back again to, serve Srila Prabhupada, because I know how much pleasure it gives him to see others getting Krishna conscious. I don't know Prabhupada's intimate relationship with Krishna in the spiritual world. I'm excited to find out. That's one thing I would really love to know. There's a song like that. I'd really love to know. I'd really love to know what is my spiritual master's relationship. But that's a private affair right now. I may be invited someday to know. But whoever and whatever his service is in the spiritual world, I know who he is in the material world. And I know what his heart is in this world. He made it very clear. He didn't hide anything. Gopis are called, comes from the word Gupta, which means that their love is hidden. But you can't. Everyone knows who Hanuman loves. Everyone knows. Avadutta Rai was mentioning, the heart. So if you look in Hanuman's heart, Raghupati Raghava Rajaram, Atita Pavan Sitaram, Sitaram Jai Sitaram, Sitaram Jai. You look at the heart of Jesus, there's a bleeding heart for humanity. So I know what Prabhupada's heart was. He was a preacher. How many times did he say, distribute books, distribute books, distribute books? And he also indicated other innovative ways of sharing. He said, tax your brains how to distribute these books, how to spread Krishna consciousness. One time he said, what is the meaning of being American unless you can do something big for Krishna? And I'm sure he would say the same thing for every country when he went there, if he had the time and knew the people. So that's what Prabhupada wants. So what do I want? I don't want anything separate from my spiritual master, because I know it only will lead to degradation, and I'll lose my good fortune. That scares me to death. So I only want what he wants, and he made it very clear. And if I want Krishna, I have to have my Guru. Because the Guru is the revealer of the Dham, and within the Dham of Radhisham. So, as my spiritual master gave his every breath, even his last breath, you see, Prabhupada's lying on his deathbed. I've actually never watched that video. No, I've never watched that video. Prabhupada's departure. And even the day Prabhupada departs, I go to my room and close the door. Think about him. But I don't like to think of him that way. Because what does Bhaktivinoda Thakur say? He says that he reasons ill who says that Vaishnavas die. When thou art living still and sound, a Vaishnava dies to live. The living spreads the holy name around. So I'm very sure that Prabhupada is with us. His mercy is cascading down from the heavens, down from Goloka. And he's observing us, and if that's what we want, if we want to share our good fortune with others, he will give us unlimited opportunities. If you want sense gratification, Maya, she'll open the door and give you so many opportunities for sense gratification. If you want bhakti, if you develop greed for Krishna consciousness, how much mercy you can take and utilize. We don't realize when we're holding back, or maybe, but I don't know, I'm going to hold on to this, I'm not, no Atma Nivedanam for me, how do I know Krishna is real? How do I know the spiritual world's there, that the Creator has 4 heads? all that nonsense that may go through the brain sometimes. If that's our mentality, then there's some restriction. But if you have full faith in your spiritual master, in the words of your spiritual master, Prabhupada, the kingdom of God is awaiting you. And the kingdom of God is also on this planet. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. When I went to church a few times, I went to church, I remember, from the Bible. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. In other words, as the spiritual world is there, it also comes here. But with all due respect, little do they know how that takes place. Because Krishna has to come. He promises. Whenever and wherever there's a decline in religiosity, an increase in adharma, I come. So he has to fulfill that process. So when he comes, he can't leave Anapayani. Who's Anapayani? One of the names of Sri Radhika. Anapayani means that she who is never separated from Krishna. Even in separation, they're together in the intensity of their Vipralamba Bhava. So Krishna said, can you come? And Radha said, I'll come, but only if there's the Jamuna River. Only if there's Govardhan Hill and the forest of Vrindavan. Otherwise, what is the meaning of our pastimes unless we have that wonderful ambience of Braj around us? The Dham is actually expansion of Lord Balaram. So Krishna came and he displayed his transcendental pastimes for all of us. It's very clear what is there. If you hear about that from your spiritual master, then you will lose all attraction to this world. It'll just vanish. Like maybe you're writing a document on your computer, and then you hit the delete button, it all goes away. It's like that. If you hear about Krishna, and all this phantasmagoria, the whole 14 worlds, all a phantasmagoria. It's a horse egg in the sky. It doesn't exist. It doesn't mean anything. It goes away. And what are you left with? The wonderful world of Krishna consciousness. So we're indebted to Guru. We don't even know, we can't even comprehend what the Guru Parampara has in store for us. We cannot comprehend that. Because we still foolishly hold on to this world. But gradually, step by step, we learn to walk in Krishna consciousness, and then we learn to run. We learn to run, like Bhaktivinoda Thakur said. My dear Lord, I'm simply running behind you, shouting, Krishna, Krishna, Krishna. And you can't say Krishna. You'd say Krishna. You can't hold back. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Like in Hungarian farm, they don't say Radhesham, they say Radhesham. Because under the tutelage and under the spiritual guidance of His Holiness Sri Ram Swami, you're learning to chant from the heart. Because Krishna consciousness is something that's imbibed from others. So we expect that all of the Hungarian devotees will leave this world at the end of their lives. Why? Well, we have cities, we have towns, we have villages, and there's cities. And amongst towns, there's towns. And amongst villages, there's villages. So like in Krishna consciousness, we have cities like Dwarka. We have towns like Mathura. And we have villages like Braj. So in the same way, in this world, we have countries like America, France, Belgium. We have yatras like Germany and Australia and Indonesia. We have programs, this and that. But in Hungary, Hungary is one of the most, you could say qualitatively, the most successful country in the world as far as Krishna consciousness is concerned. As far as yatras are concerned, oh my God, OMG. What a yatra. And as far as projects, what compares to New Brajadam? In my eyes, it's an extension of Vrindavan, just like Narottam, Srinivas, and Shamananda. Srinivas Acharya, after the whole book episode, he went to Vishnupur, because that's where the books were taken to when they were stolen, King Birambir. He got the books back, and then he initiated the king, and they initiated the queen, he initiated all the ministers, he initiated the whole town of Vishnupur. So he decided to stay there and water the seeds. So him and King Birambir, they went to Vrindavan. You read about it in Nava Braja Mahima. You know that book, Nava Braja Mahima, by Shivaram Swami. You read how they went to Braj. And then the king, he studied the town, where the temples were, where the holy places were, where Giriraj was, where the... Then he came back and he made an extension of Vrindavan in Vishnupur. And if you go to Vishnupur today, you'll see thousands of temples. Some are still operating, some are dilapidated, but you get an idea of what he did. He made another Vrindavan. And that's what Shivaram Swami's done. Others have tried. I don't want to be, I have to be fair. There's many, many wonderful projects, but when you walk into New Brajadam, you're like overcome by the bhakti. Maybe they don't have as many buildings, as many cows, as some other projects. But when you walk in there, it's like, sometimes a person wears too much perfume. Somebody puts on, man or a woman put on too much perfume, when they walk in the room, you start coughing. So when you walk into New Brajadam, it's like you're overwhelmed by this aroma of bhakti. It's not easy. I remember the early days. You can see the black and white photos, what the devotees went through in the beginning, lest we not forget. The blood, sweat, and tears that have developed that community. It didn't just happen like a Disney movie. Boom, there it is, and you go. No, blood, sweat, and tears. But that's what it takes to become Krishna conscious, to make the effort. So, there in Hungary, you have everything. And your temple in Budapest, it's like it was constructed by Vishwakarma, the architect of the demigods. It was there and you transformed it. You have such beautiful, merciful deities, and you have your preaching centers around. Eger, Pesh. Everything's again, everything's yes, everything's good, everything's kusam sarovara. Everything's, thank you God for what He's given all of you. So please take advantage. You don't have to go anywhere else. Don't think, oh, I have to go here, I have to go there. Yes, come to Braj, come to Mayapur, go to Puri. But your Prabhudatta Desh is the Hungarian Yatra. The people of that country, they need some mercy. I read the news. I won't go into details. What are the politics going on there right now? Much of the EU is snubbing, turning their nose away from Hungary. But that's not your business. Your business is not politics. Your business is Krishna consciousness. So be happy, be content with what you have. Work hard to make it better. Take advantage so that, when the Grim Reaper comes, when Yamaraj comes and he says, you come with me, you smile, you say, Hare Krishna, and tears just flood from your eyes like torrents of rain. You're not even aware of what's happening in this transformation. And when you wipe the tears away, you'll be in the original Vrindavan, Goloka Vrindavan, in the spiritual sky, with all the wonderful Hungarian devotees, and all of ISKCON devotees eventually. But I think you might be the first ones there. So please, when you get up there, give a reminder for the rest of us down here. How'd you get there? How did you get here? Oh, Shivaram Maharaj, no. So when you're there, then you pray for all those who are down here so they can also go back to God. So that's my short, you asked for a short talk, dear Mati, that's my short talk. And very happy today to be here with all of you. I remember all of you, don't think I forget, I do not forget. I remember each and every one of you. You're in my constant prayers. And we will meet again. It's only a question of time. Better days are there ahead. Do not worry. Hare Krishna. Jai Srila Prabhupada. Hare Bol.
Jai Srila Prabhupada. Nagyon szépen köszönjük Srila Gurudev ezt a csodálatos leckét.
For this wonderful teacher. We could listen to you all day long. Thank you very much. And now we're going to invite you for an adventure to Hungary. Ananta Vrindavan Prabhu is going to share something with us.
Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Nagyon szépen köszönjük Ananta Prabhunak.
Thank you very much, Ananta Prabhu. We're going to start the reading now. The first will be Madhavakanta Kumari Sri Mataji. They lived in Mayapur for 2 years, but they are coming back to Hungary. Madhav is studying and Kumari is preparing clothes for Radha. I'm going to ask them to they could read the offering now.
Dear Mataji, you just want to mention that they have a translation for Srila Gurudev.
Van.
Hare Krishna, dear Srila Gurudev. Please accept my humble obeisances.
Dear Srila Gurudev, please accept our respect.
I'd like to greet you with a really happy birthday. It is really amazing that you are here with us and that you have been sharing knowledge and have been preaching for now 50 years. I have had the honor to hear you preach through your online lectures in the past year, but I haven't heard your wonderful lectures in person. You still give knowledge to everyone in a way that it stays there for the new generation, and this is very wonderful. It looks like that you have infinite knowledge, really. We first met when I was 1 year old, and since then I have been always thinking of you, especially now during this ongoing pandemic. It was really hard to not see you for the past 3 years in person, but now you are safe at least. We hoped that you could come to Mayapur and we could meet again here. But even with this distance separating us, I can always feel the strength and the preaching of your bhajan. I am very grateful to you as I can personally feel your support as you watch over my spiritual life. And you gave me my name, which I really like because the deity of Krishna here in Mayapur, it is also called Madhava. I also like the name that you gave me because Madhavakanta, Das means the servant of the lover of God. Your teachings will stay with me throughout my life, and I hope that we can have this guru-disciple relationship forever. I really like you, and I feel nobody has given me this much spiritual knowledge and support yet. I would like to be your servant forever, and I really hope that you will be here with us for a lot more years. And my number one goal to accomplish would be getting initiated by you in person. I see that you follow every footstep of Srila Prabhupada, and that he was a really, really big influence on you. You are a perfect role model for everyone, including me. I got orders from you which are related on how should I continue with my Krishna consciousness as an adult, and I would like to follow you, how you are following Srila Prabhupada. I keep praying that you will be happy and healthy in your life, because then I will be also happy. Your ever-loving servant, Madhavakanta. Thank you.
Hare Krishna, Srila Gurudev. Kedves Srila Gurudev.
Dear Srila Gurudev, please accept my respectful obeisances, O Srila Prabhupada. The most wonderful day of the year is your appearance day. On this day, I would like to express my gratitude to you. I should give thanks every single day for your teaching and for accepting me as your disciple. Sadly, I can't say that I do this without fail yet. However, I feel that as time passes, I can appreciate my good fortune being your disciple more and more. These past 2 years, I've been living in Mayapur with my husband, Saragrahi Prabhu, and my son, Madhavakanta. Our lives have changed in so many ways. This is my third time in India, but the first when we actually get to live here. The atmosphere is simply wonderful. Wherever I look, I only see devotees. Everyone is in a Vaishnava dress and has a bead bag in their hand. The people greet each other with Hare Krishna and sing the holy names as they pass me on their bicycles. I can hear bhajan from people's houses, and there is the sound of the conch at dawn from a neighbor's apartment. I've never lived in such an ideal and spiritual place before. I feel like this is the center of the world here. The deities are charmingly beautiful. The tattva are extremely merciful. When I stand in front of their huge forms, I feel rooted to the spot. I feel the protection of Lord Nrsingadev at all times. His eyes are so captivating that you cannot help but not look at them, and he makes me feel safe no matter what. It's difficult to express my thoughts about Sri Sri Radha Madhava and the Sakis. Most of the time, I just stand in front of them and gaze at them. The sight is so enchanting that it makes me forget about all my thoughts. When in front of them, I forget to pray because to me, what I see on the altar is the spiritual world itself. Then as I go over to Srila Prabhupada, I get back to the present and I try to approach him with deep gratitude. He seems to welcome the devotees so nicely, with so much satisfaction. My service here is to sew new dresses for Radha Madhava and the gopis. I'm very grateful to your god sister Ramadevi, who kindly accepted me into her team of devotees. I've learned so much from her. A few years ago, it was all but a distant dream to reside in the Dham. At times, I still have to pinch myself to believe it. Then I remember that it's all thanks to you and my family, dear Srila Gurudev. Ever since you connected me to the disciplic succession, I can only thank you for everything. If only I could repay you for all the mercy that you're giving me. Whatever spiritual advancement I make, it's only because of you. Unfortunately, my English is not good enough to be able to follow your lectures and webinars, and they haven't been translated into Hungarian yet. But my sincere desire is to be able to listen to your teachings. I feel that at the moment my service here in Mayapur allows me to feel connected to you, though sadly we will have to leave soon. Please continue to hold my hand, regardless of where I'll have to live. Even though we're both in India, I haven't seen you for 3 years. I hope we can meet in person again very soon. Thank you for everything. Your servant Kumari Shri, David. Thank you very much, Kumari Shri. The next people are Madhavilata and Vaishnavi from Croatia. Hope they can connect.
Dear Gurudev, please accept my humble obeisance and glories to Srila Prabhupada. Our beloved spiritual master, on this auspicious day of your Vyasa Puja, I would like to express my gratitude, love, and respect for you. Your instructions to Vaishnavi, Ambika, and I have helped me throughout my life to stay on track. Even if they were not always addressed to me directly, the life lessons you gave have guided me in every situation. I feel privileged to be part of this family, surrounded by loving brothers and sisters, and by a spiritual father whose love has no bounds, embracing with open arms whoever it may be, animal or man. You have gone over and beyond with your love and compassion for our family. How have we deserved this? It is with your causeless mercy that you have transformed all of our lives. On Polish tour, the highlight of the program for me would be the soul-steering kirtan you gave in the evening, where everybody would dance together, young and old, united as one big family. Then, when the program was over, there was always a beautiful moving bhajan playing in the background as the devotees prepared to go back to the school, and the stage team would crack down. I remember watching you, our beloved general, who always goes first and leaves last, through thick and thin, leaving the site for the day in a grave and meditative mood, as though praying to Prabhupada and praying for every single being to find their way back to your worshipable Lord. These countless examples of your magnanimity and compassion as a leader and spiritual master left such deep impressions throughout my life, engraving in me the principles by which I try to live and be of service to others. You gave my sisters and I so many recipes for spiritual success. You said once that spiritual life without chanting is like a cake with no sugar. You told us that we got a first-class ticket on the express train to Krishna, but if we don't get on, the ticket has no value. You instructed me to set small goals and achieve those. You said by doing things step by step and not jumping too high and then falling too low, I will be able to reach great goals. These treasurable moments with you and pearls of wisdom guide my life. The goal and purpose of my lifetime is to be a piece of metal being forged by my beloved spiritual master, being shaped by your instructions, your lectures, the devotees, and example, so I can become an instrument of love and service in your hands. Thank you for the magical lectures you are giving. I always think that this must be all the pastimes there are about Vrindavan, but then in your next lecture you reveal an even deeper layer of Vrindavan. When I hear the Jaya Radha Madhava prayers, when I hear about Nrsimhadev, or I go to some place that we spend time with you, when I hear your voice, I remember you and feel great happiness and sadness because I remember and miss my beloved spiritual master.
And dear Srila Gurudev, please accept my humble obeisance. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. This year I found it a big struggle to write my Vyasa Puja offering to you. I wanted to write how much I appreciate what you have done for me. But the truth is, if I would really have appreciated, I would have by now put myself a little more together and start following your instructions and put all that energy of mine in your service instead of this material world, which is always a disappointment at the end of the day. I hope every time that it will bring me joy and that maybe this time everything will go well and I can even maybe do it without Krishna. But I soon realized that I'm again living under the rules of Maya Devi, where suffering is inevitable. In these moments of desperation, I turn towards you and Krishna, who accept me back with open arms over and over again, even after the hundreds of times of you warning me that I will not find joy in this terrible place. You give me unconditional love and accept me back again and again. If only I would fully appreciate your love, I would understand that serving Krishna will bring me that love and acceptance which I crave for so much. I would understand that all these material things are not important since it's temporary and that it's all in Krishna's hands. I would understand that if I just take this simple step towards you, I would be much happier and would have more faith in Krishna. If only I would just make that step. As Srila Prabhupada said, Krishna consciousness is simple for the simple-minded and complicated for the complicated mind. I complicate my life by surrendering to material nature instead of you. You do everything in your power for me, and yet I don't truly appreciate it. I wish I could understand how big of a jewel I have in my life. You give me everything, but I in return don't appreciate it. The only thing I can say is that thank you, Gurudev, for your patience with me and not giving up on me. You believe in me and give me love. I promise, Gurudev. I promise, Gurudev, one day I'll make you proud. I'll try my best to start appreciating and how fortunate I am that you are in my life, that you brought me close to Krishna. You saved me over and over again. One day will hopefully be able to truly and sincerely appreciate your love and generosity and kindness, your servant Vaishnavi.
Nagyon szépen köszönjük, lányok, és nagyon-nagyon örülök neki, hogy így sikerült így elrendezni, hogy be tudtok csatlakozni.
Very glad you. You're cooking for a lot of people and you're working very hard. The next person is a surprise. He was the first children in New Rajasthan. He moved to England a long time ago. He works here.
Мы очень рады наблюдать эту искренность в таком большом количестве людей. Следующий у нас
and all the devotees to celebrate Vyasa Puja. I find it hard to comprehend what it feels like, a blink of an eye, since you have walked me to Gurukul my first day 20 years ago. I was always very excited when you came to visit us in Hungary and look forward to the precious moments that I got to spend with you there. I remember struggling to carry your danda, but acting strong to make you proud. Being by his side during the artis, initiation ceremonies, and throwing the grains in the fire, just some of the highlights that I can remember. Growing up, I always hoped to travel the world with you, so we could chant and share Krishna with others. I was lucky enough to attend the Festival of India tour in Poland, where I could serve you and other devotees for a couple of seasons, which was simply amazing. To see attendees dance ecstatically in the bhajan tent and enjoy and appreciate the Mahaprasadam the devotees have worked so hard to make. I do remember having conversations with you about my future there, and you pushed me hard to get an education and study. We haven't been in touch for a long time, but I'm grateful for the lessons you have taught me and for making me go through college and university. I took my interest from the Polish tour to study the technical elements of producing events and festivals, and life has so far taken me in a different direction since graduating. Nevertheless, I've been lucky to have been involved in creating some of the biggest concerts and festivals where I now live in the UK. And I can't thank you enough for this. The motivation and the inspiration will always come from you, the team of the Festival of India, and the want to serve Krishna. Last year, during the height of the pandemic, I did the hardest thing in this lifetime so far. After all the battles and testing against COVID to travel, I was able to go across Europe and be at my grandmother's side to chant Hare Krishna mantra in her final days hours before leaving her body. You have been my guiding light to Krishna and have helped me through difficult times. I know this for certain because when I was there, I could stand strong and be resilient while some other members of my family could barely be there and see her. I'm eternally grateful for your service to Krishna and Srila Prabhupada, more for the opportunity that I can call you my ever well-wisher. Your insignificant servant, Govinda.
Nagyon szépen köszönjük, Govinda. És
these will be Radish, of course, taking care of the children. Avid dancer. The students of Natishwar Gopika. They practice in Budapest. It's Rukmini Krishna's next.
Следующий будет Рада Шьям, семья преданных венгерских. Перевода на английский пока нет.
Humble obeisances always to Srila Prabhupada. I'm so grateful that I received a tape with their classes 30 years ago from Srila Shivaram Swami Maharaj. classes were translated to Russian, and as I was learning Russian in school at the time, I understood the lectures. As I was listening to you, I could see that you're the person who can convey Srila Prabhupada's teachings in a way that I can also understand despite my lack of intelligence. Thank you, Srila Gurudev, that even after many decades, you still teach me with patience and love. I would like to continue by offering one of Shyamara's school assignments. The magic wand. Once upon a time, there was COVID-19. I really missed Srila Gurudev, and I wanted to visit him on the Polish tour. But I, since COVID was everywhere, I became really sad. I sat down to chant, and I saw Srila Prabhupada, who told me, Shyamara, son, I've brought this special gift to you. He gave me a magic wand with the Maha Mantra engraved on it. My eyes filled with the tears of wonder and joy. I said thank you, and I offered my respects at his lotus feet. Then Srila Prabhupada left. I was so happy that I started to cry. I was happy that I could see Srila Prabhupada and that I've received the magic wand from him. I whisked the wands and the holy names inundated the whole world like golden sparkling glitter. Everyone who was suffering from COVID became healthy again. I could finally fulfill my heart's desire to sing and chant together with Srila Gurudev. This is the story of COVID leaving the world by Srila Prabhupada's mercy. Thank you so much for your mercy and endless love, Srila Gurudev. Your humble servants in the shade of your lotus feet. Raja Mandala Das, Shyamrasa, Saki Vrinda, and Rukmini Krishna Dasi. Thank you very much, Shyamrasa. You were very brave to offer your souvenir offering. The next person is Tilakini. She just finished her first year at university. She's studying communications. She's doing a lot of service at the temple. She's just learning how to dress Vrinda Devi.
Messages spiritual proofs to be being unqualified and fallen and proves your generosity. You give shelter even to those unfortunate souls like me and accept us all into your spiritual family. I can't even express how grateful I am for all the mercy that you have showered upon me throughout the years. I am so fortunate that I have known you since my birth. I know that I can never really pay for you for this. It would be impossible to imagine a life without you. A life that I don't even want to contemplate, as it would be so empty. Thank you for being here for me, for us, for everyone. You bring light into this dark material world. You help us get back to our eternal home with Krishna. Once you told me that you will take me back to Goloka Vrindavan. Without you, I wouldn't be able to make even a single step forward. Even thousands of lives wouldn't be enough for me to make it back to the spiritual world. Where would I be without you, Shiva Gurudev? Just thought of you being here, that you think of me gives me so much inspiration. You, your every breath, step, and act are filled with love for Krishna, and this brings me light in the dark tunnel, giving me direction and guidance. I can only wish the perfection of that unlimited love in your heart may manifest in my heart. I give thanks each year, each hour, and each minute that you are here, that you accepted me as your spiritual daughter, despite my many faults. Thank you, Shira Gurudev. Wishing you a very, very happy birthday. Your servant, Lakini.
Nagyon szépen köszönjük, Tilakini. Kamjaván, megkérhetnélek, hogy mikor felolvasol, kicsit közelebb ülj a mikrofonhoz, mert nem nagyon lehet hallani.
Kamjavan, if you could sit a little bit closer, thank you. Kamjavan is handling the service of the Puja department. Her main service is at the temple.
Hogy akik felolvasnak,
Diramat is asking devotees to speak really loudly and clearly. My dearest Srila Gurudev, please accept my humble obeisances and the dust of your lotus feet. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. All glories to you on this beautiful day, on the day of your Vyasa Puja. For a disciple, glorifying his or her spiritual master shouldn't just happen on this day. We should always remember how privileged we are because you saved us and gave us the opportunity to belong to Srila Prabhupada's family. This day, however, is still a special one for us, as it is the day of your appearance. All around the world, many of your disciples are in deep meditation. Together with my god siblings, we remember how fortunate we are to have you. You shower us with unlimited love and attention and guide us on the path towards Krishna. With my god sisters and god brothers, we often talk about how privileged we feel to have had so much of your personal association. Due to the global situation, we are not able to be with you in person, but you are doing all you can so that your disciples don't feel disconnected from you. In 1998, in one of your letters, you wrote to me, always remember that the relationship with the spiritual master is transcendental and can be developed and deepened by Krishna conscious service. Although we are all separated by distance and time, in fact, we are all together in the loving service of Srila Prabhupada and Radha Shyama Sundar. I'm not an outstanding devotee, yet your love towards me never ceases. Srila Gurudev, please always keep me in the shade of your lotus feet. Please give your blessing that I can always remember your words. Thank you for accepting me as your disciple. I miss you very much. Your spiritual daughter and servant, Kamyavan Vyasa. She has a surprise for you, Srila Gurudev. She's just going to present it now.
Nagyon szépen köszönjük, Kamjaván.
Thank you very much. The next person is Madhuri Mukhidatsi. She left Hungary, moved from Hungary for 20 years now. She first lived in Oxford, UK, and then she spent a few years in China, then Thailand, and now she's based in Mayapur. For Cambridge University, she teaches. And the request of Nrsimha Kavacha Prabhu, she's also helping the Puja department.
On this day, I'd like to offer you my sincere gratitude for all that you have done for me, done for us all. In the past year and a half, more than ever, we were forced to go inwards, reevaluate our daily routines, and really try to connect with our true identity. See the path of bhakti for what it is, a connection of the heart, or like what you just said in your address, a movement of love, a deeply spiritual and not simply a religious process. Incredibly well-researched, informative, and deep classes. Thank you so much for now recording an English-only version also. It makes such a difference to so many of us. You're also there for so many by reaching out to the devotees personally, over the phone, young and old, all around the globe. We hear that sometimes in ISKCON, we focus so much on the outreach that we forget about the inreach and looking after those within our community, not you. The past year demonstrated yet again your utmost surrender to your beloved Srila Prabhupada, your discipline, hard work, love, care, and compassion for your disciples. You can take any situation, no matter how challenging, in your stride and transform it with your vision, innovation, dedication, and focus into something that inspires us all and propels us forward. Thank you so much. It's going to be 26 years in August that we met, and I feel so privileged to have you in my life, to be able to continue to grow under your guidance. I can't and never want to imagine my life without you. I pray that under your guiding care, in time, I could make you proud one day. Until then, I remain your fallen but very grateful servant, Madhuri Mukhidasi. We are waiting you in Mayapur. Hare Krishna.
Nagyon szépen köszönjük, Madhuri, és most így meg is szeretném köszönni igazából, hogy annak ellenére, hogy már nagyon régóta nem vagy itt Magyarországon közöttünk, mindig
that you haven't lived in Hungary for a while, you always help out with offerings or gatherings, translating. You're always very happy to help, so thank you for that. Support the devotees in Hungary. Next devotee is Gandharvika Prema from Budapest. She's one of the main people in the communications department of ISKCON in Hungary.
All glories to you. If I have anything to offer you this year, it is only my deep appreciation for you and my desire to surrender to your lotus feet. My dear Srila Gurudev, I haven't, don't, and won't know anyone in this mortal world who has such a pure, sincere, uninterrupted, and deep love for the living entities than what you have for your disciples. You are my compassionate survivor, wise master, my only real and best friend, my loving father, my selfless well-wisher, the true value, treasure, and hope of my life. May I never search for love anywhere else than at your shelter. May I never have any attraction in this world to anyone else than you, giving you everything I have, which is not more than my trembling heart, my wicked mind, my flickering thoughts, dim words, awkward feelings, and shameful desires. May I always remember your dancing lotus feet that are firmly guiding me on the spiritual path that seems so slippery and winding. That you so tirelessly share with us. May your service be my only goal, guiding star, and motivation in life. May the day before I forget about you be the last day of my life. Thank you for finding me again. Please keep holding me tight. Your servant, Gandharvika Premadasi.
Nagyon szépen köszönjük, Gandharvika.
Thank you very much, Gandharvika. We'd like to ask the devotees to speak a little bit louder. Next devotee is Krishnakanta Shiromani. She's lived in Nirvajadam from the beginning. First she served at the Gurukul, and then she went to the Pujari department, and she's been there ever since, full-time Pujari. And she's one of the best Pujaris of Radhesham.
Mi hallunk Krishna Kanta, szuper, csak kezd el.
Köszönöm. Dear Srila Gurudev, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to you. Many years ago, once I wrote you in a letter that maybe you don't remember me, and you replied that you can never forget me because I'm in your heart. On one hand, I feel ashamed how I could ever think that you can forget any of your disciples. But on the other hand, I'm very happy to know that you placed even me into your heart. This is your causeless mercy. We are happy if we can take shelter in the dust of your lotus feet, but you give praise to each and every of us in your pure heart. This year, when we will celebrate the 25th anniversary of Sri Sri Radha Shyama Sundar's installation, in my heart, I will also celebrate that you gave me initiation on this auspicious event. Since then, I've been living here in New Rajadan, in the association of so many wonderful devotees serving Radha Shyama Sundar. During these years, so many things happened. Everything that I heard from you about the real nature of this material world gradually started to manifest. And of course, those things that you told us about the beauty of spiritual life also started to manifest. But unfortunately, my spiritual progress is much slower than it could be because of my laziness and foolishness. I have the good fortune to be blessed by so many auspicious things that can help progressing in spiritual life. Association of elevated devotees, our merciful deities, living in their holy dam, serving them. But for me, the main inspiration always comes from you, dear Sri Gurudev. I'm also very grateful to you for giving us your ecstatic webinars. For many years, it has been my desire to take part on your parikrama in the holy town. Even if I can never go there, now I can be there with you through your lectures. This is so wonderful. Thank you, Srila Gurudev, for helping us in so many ways in spiritual life. I am so indebted to you. At the same time, I'm sad because you had to stop your traveling preaching for such a long time. It must be very painful to you and is a great misfortune for the whole world. I hope times will change soon and all people can meet their good fortune while receiving your mercy again. Dear Srila Gurudev, thank you for giving me your precious time. I pray that I can become your good disciple and serve you forever. Your servant, Krishna Kanta Shiromani Dasi.
Köszönjük Krishna Kanta.
Thank you, Krishna Kanta. Very happy that you could join us. The next offering will be a video. It's going to be Natishwari Gopika and her dance team.
Sakshat Parabrahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Guru Brahma Guru Vishnu Guru Devo Maheshwara Guru Sakshat Parabrahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Guru Brahma Guru Vishnu Guru Devo Maheshwara Guru Sakshat Parabrahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Guru Brahma Guru Vishnu Guru Devo Maheshwara Guru Sakshat Parabrahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Guru Brahma Guru Vishnu Guru Devo Maheshwara Guru Sakshat Parabrahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Guru Deva Guru Vam Namaste Yam Sharanam Mama Guru Deva Guru Vam Namaste Yam Sharanam Mama Guru Deva Guru Vam Namaste Yam Sharanam Guru Deva Guru Vam Namaste Yam Sharanam
Okay, we're just gonna change the translator. Just be a second.
Okay.
It's from Hungarian to English, right? What is Madhurimukhi here?
Madhurimukhi.
Yeah, Madhurimukhi.
Yes, I did. Is it working? Hare Krishna? Can you hear? Okay, great. Hare Krishna, thank you. Shall I stay on this main channel or do I need to click on the... Ishwari Gopika is next. She's having more and more students at her dance school, and Geeta is getting ready for her wedding. They also prepare a small surprise that they would like to present to you after they have read their offering.
I was thinking a lot, how should I write you on your offering? Should I write in a poetry way, or should I write about my memories with you? Your desire to have such a good and wonderful existence, they can glorify you in a charming way. I am just a fallen servant of yours. How should I describe in words the beauty of your magnificent, pure soul and the greatness of your deed? You are one of Krishna's most beloved friends. How could I possibly use words to define how extraordinary you are? When I was a child, you often visited us. We were just some kids, but you always remembered us and gave us your precious time. You were our parent instead of our unmarried and affable father. You became our spiritual father and our anchor. I had a big dream of becoming a dancer who put the seed of love about Krishna into the people's heart. I wish to serve Krishna in a unique way to help others to get a closer connection to him through this art. I hope that once I could become a virtue devotee and excellent disciple. And also everyone told me that it can never happen. I should do something more stuck to the ground. Although you gave me so many mercy already, you invited me into your own home in Vrindavan and teach me how to love Krishna. You helped me to learn what does it mean to love him, and you helped me to follow my dream. I still have a long way to pursue that dream of mine, and it might never happen, but you always encourage me to keep on going. A good guardian is more powerful than the most beautiful guardian. You are not only strong and wise, but kind and thoughtful as well. Your birthday is the perfect opportunity to show you how much I care and how grateful I am to have you in my life, even if my words can be so kind. My life is like a barren land, dry and thirsty. You are like a cloud which drop by drop gives rain to this desert. I am unable to thank you. I am unable to pay back the mercy you gave me during the years. I am just a fallen, unworthy servant. I hope to follow your footsteps all the time, even if I'm miles away from you and sometimes I may slow down. You have the biggest heart in the world. Thank you for keeping me. Warmest wishes to you on your very special day. I hope that you continue to change the lives of others with your positivity, love, and beautiful spirit. Happy and very many birthday, your fallen daughter, Patricia.
Gitávali, megkérhetnélek, hogy egy kicsit közelebb ülj a mikrofonhoz, és hangosabban beszélj?
We can hear you if you
You
come a
can?
little bit
Okay.
closer. We cannot
Okay.
hear you. If you come a little bit closer. Thank you so
Yes,
much.
this is what I told her now. Yeah.
Absolutely impossible. Yeah, very difficult in person.
Kedves Gurudev! Kedves Gurudev!
Dear Srila Gurudev, please accept my respectful obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. All glories to you on your appearance day. I wish I could be a poet so I could glorify you as a person and all that love and gratitude that I have in my heart. Like the stars lit up the sky, I hope my words can also light up the personality that you are if I was a poet. But all I can do is to wish you from the bottom of my heart to thank you for your love, care, and reassurance, and thank you with simple words. I wish to thank you at every dawn and every sunset to guide me back to the right path and give me hope. I wish that Krishna gave you strength to fulfill your mission. Despite the fact that you are already a liberated soul, you sacrifice so much for us who are in the darkness of the material world. I really would like to wish you a very happy birthday. And I'd like to thank you for keeping the flame alive in our hearts. And I really hope to see you soon. I'm very sorry, I translated her offering, but I don't have it in front of me. They haven't sent it to me, sorry. So I just have to. Dear Srila Gurudev, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to you. Sadly, I'm not intelligent enough to be able to glorify you on your birthday. You are my only gift in this life. There is nothing bigger than the gift of the Guru. Despite the fact that I'm useless, you constantly shower me with your mercy. You give me something that I can never repay. I wish I could become qualified to glorify you. I wish I could thank you for everything that you have done for us, and I wish I could be a better disciple. I'm wishing you a very happy birthday, your useless servant.
Következő felajánló, felolvasó Kunda Válidászi lesz. Ő a faluban dolgozik most, a
Then
rádió.
is going to offer her homage next. She is working at Radishan Resort and she would like to open her heart to you.
Igen, elfelejtettem. Nagyon-nagyon bocsánat.
I'm so sorry. I forgot about the surprise.
Teljesen elfelejtettem.
Далее будет читать Кундавали Даси. Вы забыли о сюрпризе. Вот, для вас, Шила Гурдев. С днем рождения, Гурдев!
Nagyon szépen köszönjük, és elnézést, hogy elfelejtettem Arjunát.
Thank you very much, and I'm very sorry that I forgot about Arjuna. My apologies. Kundavali is going to be next.
Drága Srila Gurudev, kérlek fogad tiszteletteljes fordulatomat,
Srila Gurudev, please accept my humble obeisances, always through you, all goes through Srila Gurudev, Srila Prabhupada, and you are a blessing to the world.
В Арджуне. Следующий будет читать Кундавали Даси.
hogy a lelki életet boldogan kell végezni. És számomra te vagy a tökéletes példa, hogyan kell ezt
You are a
érteni.
blessing to the world, a world which increasingly lacks humanity and love. Your personality embodies the ideal of love and acceptance. You often say that one has to perform his or her spiritual practices with happiness. To me, you are the perfect example who imbibes this. There is no happiness without selfless love, and you truly give your heart in its entirety. You constantly put others before yourself without the ramification of this to yourself. This also proves your spiritual elevation because we understand that the more we value something, the more we want to share it with others. Your heart makes you radiant, and this attracts everyone. At your festivals, there are many colorful programs, but your personality is more attractive and radiant than anything else there. One ponders and says, I'd like to achieve the same level of happiness because it does exist. I have proof in the example of my Gurudev. My Gurudev, who with determination and honesty remained faithful to the mission of his spiritual master. His every goal is to satisfy him while being immersed in the love for the divine couple. The process is simple, but the path proves more difficult as it is very rare to achieve such true love of God. There are many bumps on the road, and one can easily trip over them. But you clear the path for us, holding onto our hands, pulling us along. You do everything for me too. You assist this mule as long as it doesn't bolt. You accept whatever little I can offer, whatever level I am at. This is what has given me spiritual strength all along. I really like reading your offerings to Srila Prabhupada. It shows a perfect example to what it means to be a devoted disciple whose heart is connected to his gurus, who burns with true love and who lives for and by this relationship. Loyalty, trust, resilience, devotion, purity, mercy, selflessness, humanity. These qualities can barely be found in today's world. However, without these, it's impossible to live with true love. A lack of these qualities makes being humans challenging. What to talk about trying to be pure-hearted souls. But you show us that change is possible. Our relationship with you has a wonderful effect and warms our frozen hearts. Srila Gurudev, you are the matchless gift in my life. Even if I still have desires, if my qualities are undesirable, or if I make mistakes, I'm your eternal servant. Although I have many ups and downs, you bind me with your love, and I never lose sight of the goal. I've received a gift that cannot be repaid. I'm eternally indebted to you. Thank you for being there for me. It's such a rarity in one's life. I consider myself extremely fortunate to be accepted by you. Thank you for the unlimited opportunities this life can offer. Thank you for your heart, your servant.
Sri lesz Budapestről. Ő Budapesten végez segít így a Pujári osztályon, a templomban, amellett aktívan tevékenykedik az ételosztásban, és segít a prédikálásban is. Madhuri, remélem sikerül.
Hare Krishna, dear Srila Gurudev. Please accept my humble obeisances in the dust of your lotus feet. All glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to you. On the occasion of your appearance, please accept my joyful, grateful, and heartfelt words. It is so difficult to express with words what you truly mean to me. When I think about you, my heart becomes inundated with emotions as a summer downpour falls quicker and quicker, and overflowing, they cause sweet pain. Whenever and wherever you may be, you are a bona fide and captivating representative of Srila Prabhupada and Krishna. The true proof of this is the previous year. You are setting an excellent example for your disciples how to act in Krishna-conscious manner and preach under all circumstances. I couldn't imagine a year without the tour and the annual parikrama, but you have filled the void these thoughts have created in me, as you do whenever any doubt arises. We participated in a year-long parikrama, and in the process we got closer to the holy Dham, Radheshyam, their associates, the saintly persons, Srila Prabhupada, and to you. It was a valuable and unforgettable gift from you, for which cannot properly express our gratitude. Going at your lotus feet, I admire you for your endless love towards your spiritual master, Radheshyam, and their eternal associates. It is difficult not to notice such love in your heart when listening to and watching your lectures, especially during last year. The glow in your eyes, your resounding voice, and the mimics of your face unveil the secret of your heart. I bow down at your lotus feet with tears in my eyes, because your humility towards your disciples and the Vaishnavas is so perplexing as much as your tireless service for them. They have my dedication, gratitude, and love towards you developed. I'm happy that you are my spiritual master and that I belong to you. I know and I feel that you are always with me, guiding me on the path. Thank you for your care, example, perseverance, and that you are always there for me. I humbly beg for your mercy so that I could get to the safe side of Kambi mountain, even if only in my mind and heart, and stay there forever, since there is impossible to forget Krishna, and that is where you are also. Your grateful eternal servant, Madhuri Sri Dasi. Srila Gurudeva ki jai.
Jai. Nagyon szépen köszönjük,
Thank you
Madhuri.
very much, Madhuri. The next person is going to be Ivan. He's also from Hungary, Budapest. He is helping with Food for Life. He is one of the cooks. Dear Indradyumna Maharaj, please accept my obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Now that the world has changed around us, it is very important for us to move forward. If we can't do so in the outer world, we must do so in our inner world. This is a great opportunity to cultivate our Krishna consciousness and deepen our japa. You said that chanting is the basis of our Krishna consciousness. This is one of the most important links between us, souls and Krishna. Through your kirtans, we can taste the transcendental nature of the chanting of the holy names. This mood and chants uplifts and keeps one there. The more often I can participate in it, the more I wait that I can be there again, and I become more inspired to chant more attentively every year. I can't wait to be in one of your fantastic kirtans again, your insignificant servant. Thank you very much. We are all awaiting the participation in Srila Gurudev kirtan. Next is Raja Hamsa Prabhu. He's also from Budapest. We hope he's with us.
All glories to you on the day of your appearance. Thank you. Thank you for appearing in this world. Thank you for appearing in my life. Thank you for teaching me the truth. Thank you for accepting me. Thank you for keeping me in your prayers. Although I can't say the big words or the true statement that you are all my thoughts, I can't do it yet because I have the binding of my role and of all that many taste, sound, color, and form. I would love it to be easier to stay clean and just following you. Thank you that you are here with me even when I'm not with you, when life takes me away, capturing me with fear. Thank you for grabbing my hand, leading me, and kindly promising that it will be all right, and you will take me to Srila Prabhupada if I just stick to the singing and dancing. Thank you for saying the real news, the important ones, the essential ones, not the useless news of the material world, but ones from Vrindavan with Krishna's pastimes. I miss you. I know you love me more than I can imagine. I look forward to meeting you, and I can gaze upon your smile again that shines on me. When I hear your voice, I'm happy. I do not want more days to go by when I don't wake up for you in the morning, because I do not have more chances just going through the road with you. Thank you for being with us, and as a blessing, please just give me the ability to really love you. Your insignificant servant, Raja Hamsa.
Nagyon szépen köszönjük. Akkor most visszamegy.
And we are returning to New Bradadam. Prem Prabhu next, who is also rendering Pujari service to Radha Shyam.
Dear Gurudev, we are happily preparing to your birthday celebration. I remember when I first heard you sing in Parangati Bhajan, I immediately fled that this is my Guru. Although I don't know who was singing, when I learned that it was you, I got cassette about your preaching in Amazon forest. When I listened to it, my desire to become your disciple strengthened. I am so grateful that you have accepted me as your disciple in 1994. So many years have passed since then, and you continue to inspire me through your kirtans and classes. You have been in India for more than 1 year. Now, so your disciples cannot see you personally, but it is so fantastic that you broadcasting us Parikram class. I have been to India many times, but I was always so busy getting Radhashyam outfits made that I don't have time to go to Parikrams. Now, by your mercy, I have opportunity to see this place full of nectar. Dear Srila Gurudev, Thank you so much for this association. I hope the time comes soon when we will meet personally and we can chant and dance together in front of the shout. Jai Shila Gurudev Ki Jai.
Jai. Nagyon szépen köszönjük. A következő
Vallabi Kanta is going to speak next, and we ask her to sit a bit closer to the microphone. She is an active member of the preaching department, helping with videos to promote Krishna values.
My dearest Srila Gurudev, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. This year was so unusual. Actually, there are no usual years in Krishna consciousness. Every day is a challenge on the path back to Krishna, but this year I got your extra attention. I needed shelter so much, and you reached me immediately. I cannot even imagine how you can pay attention to all of us. You give me your wonderful classes regularly. You have to prepare for those sessions. You get lots of mails and phone calls, and at the same time, you have to take care of your own health. But you are always very personal and kind with us. How is it possible? I think this kindness comes from your natural loving personality. You cannot be different. I'm so fortunate to have met you in this lifetime, in these horrible Kali Yuga times, and I'm the most fortunate to have been accepted as your spiritual daughter. I'm not qualified to express my gratitude to you properly. I'm weak and foolish. My only treasure is your lotus feet. You gave me hope, faith, and strength, so now I really trust in Krishna and his plan. I can see the blue sky, I can see the blissful sunshine, I can see Lord Krishna's sweet smile in everything. You gave me this vision, and you encouraged me to be joyful and brave in all circumstances. May Krishna arrange to meet you again. I could cook for you, I could clean your room, your shoes, I could listen to your bhajan, sing together with my god sisters and god brothers, together with my family. There is no better experience for a kid than the Polish tour. My son is 6 years old now. I would like to take him to your festivals. You would be so happy. And the parikramas. I have never been on your parikram. Thank you for giving so much fun and Krishna conscious experience to us for long, long years, and now every day. I appreciate more and more these precious gifts and every second that I could spend in your association. I miss you so much. I'm praying to meet you again. This is my desire. Nothing else really matters. I'm sure if I get your mercy, everything will be solved. All glories to you, my dearest Srila Gurudev, your insignificant servant, Valami Kantadasi.
Nagyon köszönjük. A következő Nityananda Mahajan Prabhu lesz, ő is ott.
Nityananda Mahajan Prabhu is next. He's also there, and he's also helping with distribution in Food for Life. Hare Krishna, dear Srila Gurudev, please accept my humble obeisances. All glory to Srila Prabhupada, all glory to you. The spiritual master is receiving benediction from the ocean of mercy. Just as a cloud pours water on the forest fire to extinguish it, so the spiritual master delivers the materially afflicted world by extinguishing the blazing fire of material existence. I offer my respectful obeisances onto the lotus feet of such a spiritual master, who is the ocean of auspicious qualities. Last year was quite hectic and difficult. There were ordeals in all areas of life, work, family, and due to the virus situation. The latter has affected everyone's life. Despite the many difficulties I went through, I also slipped into the ditch by car. I didn't have any serious issues, but the minor damage to the car A few months ago, my left hand was fractured, and not long ago, the plaster was removed. In the field of my work, Krishna teaches me humility, patience, and perseverance every day. I know that it's also Krishna's mercy that you found me. If I had just followed my own head, I would just be like a mad elephant in the puddle of material pit. But you take control, show the way to everyone, including me. That is why I'm so grateful that you have accepted me into your service and given refuge to this lost soul. Among all the difficulties, the hardest part was that we didn't meet in person. But I feel like you're always here by my side and listen to me. My mind has wandered about recently while I have been chanting my rounds. Then I thought about your chanting, with what a deep absorption and love you chant the holy name. This helped me focus and pay more attention. There was an immediate reciprocation. A few rounds later, I was given Srila Prabhupada's garland to offer to Srila Prabhupada during Puja. I felt very embarrassed because I didn't feel qualified to serve Srila Prabhupada. Yet your grace helped me in this, and also to understand your teachings, the power of prayer, and your presence wherever I am. And I understand that the physical presence is not necessarily, yet I still miss you. I honestly miss Woodstock and to serve you there too. I'm grateful for all your teachings and for taking care of me in difficult times. Although I do not deserve it, I always long to get your mercy. Gurudev, give to this servant just one drop of mercy. I'm lower than a blade of grass, your insignificant servant.
Prabhu, most akkor Rasszarasszini fog következni. Ők éppen utaznak, de nagyon-nagyon felszerette volna olvasni a felajánlását.
Rasszarasszini is next, and they are actually traveling at the moment, but she really wanted to read her offering, so here she is.
Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to your divine Vyasa Puja. I am so grateful to be able to greet you on your Vyasa Puja day. Most grateful that you are healthy and safe. Thank you so much for being so considerate towards your disciples. Your weekly lectures are pure nectar, and I am so happy to see you on my display. You come with me wherever I go. I listen to you at home, at my work, on the road, wherever I can. This system has turned into the best idea ever. I never imagined in my wildest dreams that after such a long and tiring 2020, we are almost in the same situation at 2021. I mean, seriously, nothing is granted anymore in this world. In the back of my mind, I always hope it is gonna be over soon, but now I do not share this enthusiasm anymore. Nothing will be the same anymore. We have got so many devotees around us who got ill and that seriously changed their life. They became more strict in spiritual life. I cannot even mention the recent happenings in Sri Mayapur. It was beyond any pain to witness such a glorious departure of His Grace Pankajagni Prabhu. Still tears come to my eyes. I am very exhausted mentally by the suffering of all the devotees. I know absolutely no one who has not been suffered or affected by this nightmare. Every night my prayers are the same. Krishna, what can I do better? Please guide me. I am lost. Please protect my Dara spiritual master. Please let me understand your plan. The only thing I can do is to adapt to the new world and new situation. My dear spiritual father, you are constantly in my prayers, in my thoughts. I wake up with your voice, I go to sleep with your voice. I decided not to hope on anything, just take every single day as it is, accept whatever I have and appreciate every day as its own. The great thing is that spiritually I feel more dependent on Krishna, my prayers are more sincere, and I gave up the illusion that my great efforts are able to change my surroundings. I cannot even relate to those people who have no shelter of God. They must go crazy. Even the faithful is tested, what to speak of the rest. I do not wish to lament on this wonderful occasion. I am thankful and grateful for your association. The best decision I have ever made was to accept you as my Guru Deva. This only will save me from falling under. What can I do to be a better disciple? How can I serve you better? What can I do to make you satisfied with my efforts? How can I be any help to serve your mission? Dear Srila Gurudev, I have to express that I love you more than anything. I am here to serve you and I miss you constantly. Thank you for accepting me as your disciple. All glories to you.
Nagyon szépen köszönjük, Rasszal asszony, és nagyon örülök, hogy sikerült ez a
Thank
kis...
you very much. I'm very happy that you were able to stop and read your offering while you're traveling. Now Rucha Prabhu is next. He's at the preaching department and he's also an excellent chef and he's famous for his music that he shares with devotees.
Hare Krishna, Srila Gurudev. Lehet hallani? Mondhatom? Kedves Srila Gurudev, kérlek oda tisztelettel és hódolatomat, minden dicsőséget Srila Prabhupádnak és a te gyönyörű lótuszlábadnak. Minden évben, amikor készülök megírni a felajánlásomat, csinálok egy összegzést, mi is történt az évben. Ez a 2021-es év és az előtte lévő 2020-as egy elég furcsa év volt. Nem azért volt furcsa, mert itt volt egy vírus, és ez felborított az egész világot, hanem azért, mert az én szeretett lelki
Master wasn't able to travel and give Krishna consciousness as usual to millions of people. I think this loss was bigger than the troubles and difficulties triggered by the virus. Thanks to the internet age, things could be replaced, but it still wasn't the same. I'm ever so grateful for your seminars and lectures. I still, however, have a growing desire to be, like in the good old days, together with you and our God brothers and God sisters on the Polish tour. Our kirtans together, our service together to these special souls who attended the festival, and to have all the wonderful experience of which you are the epicenter. I feel that along with my God brothers and God sisters, we are the most fortunate living beings on the planet. Almost every year the feelings for you are the same. You are my hero and my role model in Krishna consciousness, and this will never change. Whenever I think of you, the same feelings come over me, with the difference of the feelings and love being deeper and deeper each year. I can promise that I will make an effort every day to be able to associate with you one way or another. I cannot thank you enough for all that you are doing for us and for giving us your association. I'm clear about how much time, preparation, technical background this all takes, and you are willing to make this sacrifice for us every day. We can never repay you, but we should certainly try. I'm praying that we could meet again soon, and that I can some more of those transcendental hugs that you have given me in the past years. Reminiscing about these years and the time we spent together to be able to somehow get through this time, even if it's not easy. I hope that we can have your association again and glorify Lord Krishna. Srila Prabhupada in the company of God brothers and God sisters, with all of those fortunate souls in Poland or any other place in the world, your insignificant servant. Ambika Vanishwar is next from Radhadesh. She managed to join us just now. She is taking guests around and she helps at the retreat center. She helps in the preaching activities and she's also helping at the Pujari service. And she managed to take 5 minutes away from her service to join us and to open up her heart.
Well, Gurudev, please accept my humble obeisances, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. I just want to say how happy I am that I could join. I'm sorry I can't be here for the full thing. Yes, I wrote a little poem because I always think of my mom used to help us write our offerings for the longest time. And then when we grew up, she said it's time for us to, branch off. So I attempt to write something similar. And it might not make sense for everyone, but Gurudev, you always remembered all our pet bunnies, so I hope you'll appreciate it. Okay, so hippity hoppity hop. 3 little cotton-tailed bunnies, brought into the frigid, daunting world, frightened, oblivious, and curled, bound together by their mother. Golly, are they relieved to have one another? Why are they here? Mere moments ago they were having sweet dreams. Who would dare interfere? Not much to do except to go explore. Hippity hoppity hop. In the distance, something luscious. The youngest says, I'll be honest, my stomach is starting to get a bit hungry. The green, so delicious, succulent, and flavorsome. Mmm, chum chum chum. Maybe, just maybe, this place isn't so terrifying after all. Hippity hoppity hop. Flowers, butterflies, and birds. So many jewels in the world, decorating it like pearls. They tried to catch the butterflies. Through their little paws, like butter, the jewels escaped to the skies. Hippity hoppity hop. These 3 bunnies start to get a bit weary. All this time searching, yet their purpose is still a query. Cuddle and wonder. Their pink-tinged noses cold, awoken by the morning frost. Everything so unfamiliar, they feel so lost. Hippity hoppity hop. Following a path, they not know where it leads. They should be cautious and not get lost in the weeds. The younger 2 also called the terrible 2. So much mischief those little bunnies can do, rolling around and trailing off the path, but older bunny will not let them stray. Distract hop. Hippity hoppity hop. Wait a minute. Did you hear that? Are we not alone? A gentle voice speaks. It is not unknown. I'm here to help you. Come with me. I have a big family I want you to join. Can we really? Even if we are always so silly? He is tolerant, soft-hearted, fluffy, and loving. Are you coming? He gives them purpose, love, and he is so kind. Bunny doesn't leave anyone behind. The end.
Nagyon szépen köszönjük ezt a költői felajánlást. Nem tudom,
Thank you very much for the poetic offering. I'm not sure how Anuragi got on with the translation.
Mandala lesz.
Gopi Mandala is next. She lives somewhere near the city Debrecen. She likes gardening. And she regularly attends the Woodstock Festival in Poland. And she offers service in terms of cooking and baking.
Most tökéletes, ha így közel vagy, így nagyon jó.
Köszönöm. Kedves Srila Gurudev.
Dear Srila Gurudev, please accept my respectful obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. All glories to you on your auspicious day of your appearance. For those who only recently joined the movement and haven't yet met you, I always tell them about you, my spiritual master, and the Polish festival tour and Woodstock, and what an amazing and grandiose preaching event that is. Sadly, because of the virus situation, this is not happening at the moment. But I'd like to recall some wonderful memories from the tour. One evening, with some Hungarian messages, we were standing in the back and watching the program, and we were watching you too. Once we saw that a plate of prasadam, you got a plate of prasadam from the restaurant tent, and we were wondering, wow, who is going to get the plate of prasadam? It must be a VIP, but it wasn't. It was actually a homeless man who was watching the program from the first row. We were very much surprised. Srila Gurudev, you really don't distinguish between VIPs and homeless people, you see everyone equally, and you can see over the material covering. The story doesn't end here. When the kirtan finished, the homeless man stepped towards the stage and gave you a bunch of flowers to reciprocate. He was also touched that you cared so much for him. The Matajis wrapped the girls in saris on the stage, and all the little girls were very excited to receive a colorful sari. They were very proud, and they were happily waving to their parents. One little girl came to you on the stage, and the parents and her sister, who was in a wheelchair, came to you. You noticed them and sent a Mataji to try to put a sari on the little girl who was in a wheelchair. Then you went over to them to exchange a few words with them. They were so grateful how personal you were. Then you remembered the bunch of flowers that you received previously and asked to be gifted to the family. Sorry, I have to move on. I didn't get the offering on time. Sorry, Tulsi Maran is going to be next, who lives in a city called Szeged.
One of the goals of a disciple is to constantly meditate on the instructions of the spiritual master. As your auspicious appearance day is getting closer, the remembering of your lotus feet intensifies. One entire year passed again, but this time it was different. I didn't have the opportunity to serve you in the Polish tour, to go on Harinams together, and to see how joyfully the Polish people dance and sing with us the holy names. How we all missed those days when we were in the dusty fields of the Poland Rock Festival, and even millions could hear and participate in the chanting, dancing, and feasting. There were the kirtans that go on day and night, the Ratha Yatra, the ginormous prasadam distribution, the whole experience where every word is a song, every step is a dance, and there's a festival every day. Shri Gurudev, you're a real example for thinking big and preaching boldly. By your mercy, only we can have such spiritual experiences which before didn't even exist in my wildest dreams. I'm sure that every devotee prays for the day when we can be united again in Lord Chaitanya's Sankirtan mission, and the feeling of separation will finally change in the joy of union. We are still fortunate to have your association through transcendental sound vibration while listening to your wonderful lectures, never heard before of Vrindavan, and of so many related stories. These lectures are so deep and nectarian that they give the same feeling as when I was on Kartik Parikrama just before the pandemic started. I often think that I'm not advanced enough to listen to such pastimes, but by your grace, day by day, I can get closer to the divine couple. This pandemic has lots of difficulties, and the biggest is the absence of personal association with devotees. I can see myself struggling to continue and never give up. A few weeks ago, I have been blessed by the Transcendental Association of Srimati Tulsi Devi, and I can only be most grateful that by your mercy I can serve her and I can feel uplifted by her divine association. I can only hope that one day, by your grace, I can become the disciple you deserve to have. I pray that Lord Nisimhadev will protect you always, as he did before, and I pray that soon we can again preach and have festivals together. Your insignificant servant Tulsi Maran idén leszik.
Nagyon szépen köszönjük. A következő Mangala Gópi lesz Németország.
Mangala Gopi from Germany is going to be next. She's also going to be with a small group of devotees.
This is all goes to Srila Prabhupada, all goes to you. First of all, thank you so much. I'm really, really happy to see you and hearing you. In the beginning, the pandemic, I had a very strange situation with my family. It was the time maybe to lose my mom and my father. I was praying for Krishna really deeply in my heart. When I need to choose, I would like to choose you to stay here and my father and my mother can live. But please, let my guru to stay here because I need you. And this time I understood how much love I have from you. And when I see my children and when they asking me something and I'm trying to say what I learned from you when I was a child, I try to say the same thing. I'm always behind you and I try to help you. This I feel until today. And thank you so much everything. I don't want to take much more time because we have something else also, but I have two wonderful friends who are disciple Rajanath Swami Maharaj, and they always going to preach from yoga centers and so many other places. So we would like to sing something for you. I hope you like it. Hare Krishna. Happy birthday, 1, 2, 3. Happy birthday, Sila Gurudev!
Nagyon-nagyon köszönjük, Mangala Gópi.
Thank you very much, Mangala Gopi.
Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Happy birthday, Shri Gurudev.
Wow! Nagyon-nagyon szépen köszönjük. Nagyon szép volt.
Thank you very much. This was beautiful. This bhajan offering. Revati Mataji is next. She's a disciple of Srila Shivam Swami Maharaj, and she translates Maharaj, the translation of Maharaj's books, but she feels very inspired by you, Srila Gurudev, and therefore she would like to say a few words to you.
Dear Indradyumna Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. You were always present in the life of the Hungarian Yatra and in the life of all devotees here, actually, including me and all disciples of Shiva Ramaswamy. But it happened in 2015 in Vrindavan that you miracled me with your lectures so much that since that I actually couldn't stop listening to you. And I'm trying to find always the opportunity to express my appreciation for your lectures and for your very being. And this is what I'm trying to do right now with my short offering. Let me read it. When I look up on the small shelf above my table, I see two handwritten quotes which pierced my heart when I heard them from your lips. The first one is, the basic principle is that one should always remember Krishna and never forget him. The second one is from Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. In the teachings of Sriman Mahaprabhu, there are only two principal instructions: develop a taste for chanting the holy names and display compassion for the fallen conditioned souls. You are a wonderful example for how to follow these instructions. Your lectures are such treasure houses which clearly show that you never forget Krishna, and you even make many others remember him. In Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, we can read about a devotee of rank who automatically started chanting Krishna in the presence of Lord Chaitanya. Your mere presence can make one chant in a similar way. I chanted japa with you only once in the Govindaji temple in Jaipur, but I will never forget about that face. I don't know what good fortune led me to experience your compassionate nature. The love, compassion, and care you spread unconditionally is astonishing. You are my hero who knows the ultimate solutions for all problems and who exemplarily practice them even in the middle of a pandemic. But the essence of what I wanted to tell you in this short offering is that one who is accepted and loved will accept and love. And in such a mood, one will be able to chant and hear about Krishna. This is what I'm learning from you. This is why I insist on you. And this is what I'm trying to practice myself in your footsteps.
Nagyon szépen köszönjük, Révati, és elérkeztünk az utolsó felajánlásra.
We have arrived to our very last person who is going to read her offering, Anuragi Dasi, who is actually translating into Hungarian, so it might take a while to switch over.
Ananta Prabhu, mehet? Ananta Prabhu, can we start with Anurag, please?
Yes, you should
okay.
start.
Okay. Yeah, thank you.
Hare Krishna. Dear Srila Gurudev, please accept my humble obeisances in the dust of your lotus feet. All glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to your divine grace. Last year, this time, we had great hopes that in a year's time, our lives will be back to normal. By normal, I mean COVID gone, at least subdued. The festivals glorifying the Lord along the Bharati Sea coast are back on the road along with you, Srila Gurudev. We really hoped that after a year of missing the Polish tour and the Woodstock Festival, in 2021 we'll be able to visit you in Poland, even if you wouldn't have time to come to Hungary, and join in your preaching activities, at least for a short while, and get your precious association. Instead, this year brought us separation again. The virus is still here, borders are closed, and we are stuck in our respective countries. Although I cannot complain about being stuck in Radhishyam's realm, serving the divine couple, but I have to admit that I really miss your association. Srila Shivaram Maharaj gave class the other day about Lord Chaitanya's travels, and he mentioned that when Lord Gauranga visited South India, he stayed with Venkata Bhatta for a duration of the Chaturmasya. He emphasized that although Venkata Bhatta was a devotee of Lakshmi Narayan, he immediately recognized that Lord Chaitanya wasn't an ordinary person, and he saw the opportunity to host and serve him as a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Maharaj said that the same is true for the service of the spiritual master. We have to see every chance as a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, and we have to grab every possibility for such special and rare service. I kept thinking how fortunate I am that I had that once-in-a-lifetime opportunity quite a few times in my life. I have fond memories of those days when you came to our Sankirtan ashram in Coventry, the little dollhouse, as you called it, where you could only go upstairs sideways since the corridor was so narrow. We were always so happy when we got your association and the chance to serve you. We got so much mercy from you. I remember the first time you came to stay with us, the devotees who accompanied you realized that it was a Mataji ashram, and they told us to go and stay somewhere else while you were there. We were so disappointed, but when you heard about it, you said that every other devotee can leave, but we have to stay. You just kept one Prabhu servant with you, and you engaged us in the service, in your service of your in your service and your DP service, making us so happy and grateful. Once we met you at Birmingham Airport before you flew to Ireland for a few days. You were traveling with Shishi Radha Vallabha at that time, and you were so excited about them that you wanted to show them right there at the airport. We went to the prayer room and you took them out from their bag so that we could take darshan of their divine form. After telling us their story, we had a small kirtan for them together. It was such a special mercy. This is your mood. You always give yourself selflessly to others. You touch the heart of thousands of fallen souls with your compassionate nature, and you tie your disciples' hearts to your lotus feet with your selfless love. Few years ago, during your visit to Ireland, you took your lunch in one of the rooms in the Inishrat temple with another devotee, and Sri Thakur Prabhu was serving you. When he went inside, Maharani Vrindadasi and me asked him to save us a little Mahaprasadam, and we were waiting in front of the door in the corridor. In a short while, he opened the door and he gave us a huge plate with so much food on it, and then he shut the door. Since we were expecting a few morsels, and suddenly we stood there with a huge plate, which was obviously someone's Maha plate, we didn't want to believe that it was yours. For a few minutes we were discussing whether it must be a devotee's plate, but then we noticed that the food was covered with salt, which is your signature thing to do, to grind the salt yourself over your plate. So we realized that we have just received a truckload of mercy. It was so unbelievable that we decided right there at that spot that we will not give to anyone else from it, since probably we will never have such mercy in our lives again. So we just hid somewhere, sat down, and ate all of the Mahaprasadam, just the two of us. It might sound really selfish, but till this very day, I reminisce of that day, and I always know that surely that must be the only reason why I'm still here in the movement, despite all of my shortcomings. That is the potency of the remnants of a pure devotee of the Lord. On this special day of your appearance, I remember these nectarian times when we could be in your association and think about all of those special, once-in-a-lifetime opportunities that you so mercifully allowed me to have, and lamenting that this is what COVID is robbing us from. The only solace for not being able to get your personal association are your wonderful weekly classes, during which you allow us to get glimpses into the nectarian pastimes of the divine couple. Thank you so much for studying so much and spending so much time to prepare for these lectures and to share so much nectar with us. You set the perfect example of to us how we should be immersed in Krishna consciousness even during difficult times, and it is so admirable to see how you grab every chance to preach, even if you don't have the opportunity to preach to the masses like you used to. You keep us, your disciples, enlightened, enlighten us, and lead us towards the ultimate goal by showing us the spiritual world. I pray to Radhishyam to give you good health and so many more preaching opportunities so that you could serve Srila Prabhupada to your heart's content in this world. I also pray that you please always keep me in the service of your lotus feet. And in this crazy world, I can only hope to be blessed with more once-in-a-lifetime opportunities in your service. your eternal servant and guidance.
Nagyon szépen köszönjük Anurag és mindenkinek.
Thank you very much, Anurag, and everyone else. We have arrived at the end of our Vyasa Puja offerings. We are very eager to hear from you in a few words, if you would, so please.
Well, I'd like to thank everyone for their very deep and loving and shastric offerings. I've said many times that when devotees speak, it reminds me of a statement by Sri Rupa Goswami in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, that devotees naturally become poets. In the material world, you're born with your karma, and that's who you are. We know that you actually can't change your destiny in this world. It's ingrained in you. Actually, if you're a good poemist, if you can read someone's poem, you can tell them pretty much everything about their life. A good astrologer can do that also. And they're bound up by that destiny. So if you don't have the karma to be a poet, you'll never be a poet. But the beauty of Krishna consciousness is that it wipes clean all that destiny. But Krishna provides you with all the qualities that are needed to please Krishna. We sometimes say all the qualities of the demigods. It's put like that by Rupa Goswami. A devotee develops all the good qualities of the demigods. So we're not governed by our destiny, which means our past karma, but we're blessed with devotional qualities whereby we can please Krishna. So that becomes quite evident when you hear devotees speak. Actually, all devotees are quite eloquent. I know because I've been listening to these offerings for about 4 months now. So I see devotees are very eloquent in their talk. So usually in material society you find, out of 500 people, maybe someone can speak like that. But all devotees are like that. It's just they're very humble. They don't think like that. They don't recognize that. But we hear in Chaitanya Charitamrita that by the mercy of Lord Chaitanya, a blind man can see stars, a lame man can climb mountains, and a dumb man, meaning someone who doesn't have the ability to speak, can glorify the Lord. So all these little miracles are present before us. But sometimes it takes someone else to point them out to us. And that's Guru. Our lives are just full of auspiciousness. Full of auspiciousness. I often say that one time Prabhupada's father, Gaur Mohan Dey, who Prabhupada identified as a pure devotee in Krishna book, introduction, he says his father was a pure devotee, was always blessing him to become a pure devotee of Radharani. He said to Prabhupada one day that the Maharapurusha, you could say the universal form of Krishna, has many arms and many legs. And if he wants to give you mercy, with all his arms and all his hands, thousands of hands, how much your 2 little hands can accept. So we're just abodes of mercy only by the intervention, divine intervention of Guru and Gauranga. We have touched divinity. A divinity that even yogis and rishis and great ascetics, they could only dream about or spend thousands of lifetimes trying to achieve. We've all achieved that by the mercy of Srila Prabhupada. That is what is meant by your ever well-wisher. He's our ever well-wisher. He's given us so much mercy. But the duty of the Guru is to remind us. Just like when you're growing up, your parents are always telling you, be good boys, be good girls, make your bed, finish your meals, don't play too much, study. We're not inclined to any of those things. We just want to play when we're children. But the parents take the responsibility to remind us about the important things in life. So that same playing propensity is there in adults. They just express it in a different way. Promiscuous sexual life and intoxication and frivolous sports and devious politics, and it's just we never grow up. So the spiritual master has to remind us, and he introduces that divinity into our life, and so we're ever grateful. Actually, Kaviraj Goswami makes it very clear in Chaitanya Charitamrita. He gives us he paints the picture for us. Sometimes you try to say something, but if you see it in a painting, oh, now I understand. You hear someone say something, but if you see the same thing expressed in a painting, oh, now I understand. So shlokas are like that. They're like windows to the spiritual world. So Kaviraj Goswami says, Brahmanda Brahmatikonya Bhagavan Jeev, Guru Krishna Prasad, Pai Bhakti Lad Beach. Here's the picture. You don't need to, go to those websites to, pay some fee and then, you give them their data and they can tell you who your forefathers were. People want to know who was my great-great-grandfather, my great-great-grandfather. Now you can give some saliva in a test tube and you send it into a particular company. I think it's called 23Me2 or something. And they'll tell you, your history going back hundreds of years, what country you're from, your grandparents were from, and what they did. But one day my mother told me, she said, son, you should be very proud. One of your forefathers, your great-great-great-grandfather, was one of the persons who signed the American Declaration of Independence from the British so that America could become a separate country. And I went, oh, great, Mom. Yes, one of your forefathers was a pioneer in this great country of America. But that's only a small picture. It really isn't so relevant. So Kaviraj Goswami, he gives a real overview. Brahmana Brahmatikonya Bhagavan Jeev, Guru Krishna Prasad, Pai Bhakti Lad Beach. Since we fell from grace, as the Catholics say, we committed the cardinal sin of eating the apple from the apple tree. It was forbidden. And we fell from grace down into this world. What have we been doing? We've been traveling from universe to, Brahmanda means universe, Brahmanda Brahmatikon, universe to universe. Talk about space travel. We've been there and done that. Nowadays they're selling tickets for some space travel that's coming up in a few months. We've already done that. Prabhupada said if you, in a dream, you dream you're flying, that means in a previous lifetime you were a demigod. He writes that. If you see yourself flying in a dream, that means in a previous lifetime you were a devata. So here's a picture. Universe to universe, species of life to species of life, body to body, since time immemorial. You can't even, it's impossible to count how many births are there. And it was going to keep going. It wasn't that, you finish because of what your material desires and the reactions that come from trying to fulfill them. The momentum keeps going. Like you're in a swing, right? Your mother's pushing you. And then she pushes you. And she pushes you. And she leaves you for a while and you keep going. And she pushes you. So we're like that. We're being pushed by the modes of nature, committing so many mundane activities, sinful activities. So it keeps going, going, going. How will it ever end? Brahmanda Brahmatikon Bhagavan Guru Krishna Prasad. Guru Krishna Prasad. Prasad doesn't just mean food. Prasad means mercy. Guru Krishna Prasad Bhai Bhakti Lag Bij. Out of their infinite compassion, although we have no qualification to even see such persons from a distance. We don't have the qualification to come near them. Like you can't go close to the prime minister, the president. You don't have the qualification. So with spiritual persons, you have to have you have to have many pious lives behind you to get the association of a saint. But Vaishnava saints, they're different. In Vedic culture, you went looking for a guru. But Vaishnavis, they come looking for you. And that alone is your good fortune. One time a devotee said to Prabhupada, Prabhupada, I was so sinful. I had no good fortune. Prabhupada said, yes, I created your good fortune. I always remember that. Devotee was honest. I've done nothing to deserve any mercy. I had no fortune in my life. Prabhupada said, yes, I created your good fortune. That we must always remember. The spiritual master and Krishna, they intervene. It's mystical. They intervene. You think, oh, I'm on the way to the store to buy my mother a carton of milk or get some vegetables. And you meet a devotee on the street who's distributing books, or a kirtan party passes by, and oh, you hear the holy name, and or you buy a book, and you think it's just something that just happened, a part of the day. No. It's divine intervention. It's nothing ordinary. It is extraordinary. It's not ordinary, it's extraordinary. And that's why you see very often devotees, they like to talk about how they became devotees. Each one of you can go on for hours. How you met the devotees, how impressed you were, your first feast, the devotee who introduced you, the temple, the aromas. Because why? Because it's nothing like you ever experienced since you left the kingdom of God. It may be something very simple, but simple, can also be very nice if it's imbued with bhakti. Like a boy hands a girl a simple rose. Her heart is melted. It's not the rose, it's the act of offering the rose. So what to speak if you offer a rose to Krishna? What to speak if Krishna just gives his sidelong glance to you? What is that? It's life-changing. So that's Krishna consciousness. The moment we met the devotees, however it happened, that was the turning point of our existence. Devotees intervene. So that's the initial mercy, and we do appreciate that. But from then on, it's just tsunami. I think the tsunamis happen. Well, there are many reasons the tsunamis happen, but it's a good word. A tsunami of mercy. And you can't fight it. It'll carry you away, even if you resist. I see devotees, sometimes devotees leave and I meet them later and they admit, I cannot forget Krishna. And at that point where they need Krishna, he's there for them. So our lives are forever changed. Just like if you get a tattoo, that's it. You get the tattoo, that's it. It's there. I remember when I was in the Marine Corps, it was America's best fighting force. All the soldiers were being trained to go to Vietnam and fight in combat. So we went through basic training, we went through advanced infantry training, demolition, underwater training, parachuting from the skies, shooting our our guns as we were falling to the ground, just, all these techniques we learned. So we were really proud of ourselves. We're United States Marines. And one day we decided that, we had leave for the weekend. So we went downtown to San Diego and there was a tattoo parlor, where you get tattoos. And it wasn't so well refined in those days, the tattoo artists. So there were 5 or 6 boys. We were in our uniforms. We took our shirts off. Rah! We're looking at all the different designs you could get tattooed. So we all decided that we would get a bulldog, a dog, bulldog, big teeth, this big on our shoulders, and underneath we put the initials of our fighting corps, USMC, United States Marine Corps. The big, red eyes on the bulldog, We're soldiers, we're killers, we're bulldogs. All the boys, there were 5 of us, they lined up. I was the leader. It's fine, go, you guys go first. So then I saw these big bulldogs here. One boy, then another boy. And I'm thinking, do I want a bulldog on my arm my whole life? Maybe now it means something, but what about when I'm 21 or 22? Do I want a bulldog? So then it came to be my turn and I said, guys, it's late. Let's just go home now and I'll come back tomorrow and I'll get my bulldog. I never came back because I knew we'd be there forever. But when you get the tattoo, you get the impression of Krishna consciousness in your heart. You get the mercy of Krishna. It's there forever. What Krishna says on this path of Krishna consciousness, there's no loss, there's no diminution. And that means it doesn't fade away, it doesn't get old and you can't read it anymore, it doesn't disintegrate. Prabhupada said, when you get the Maha Mantra, at the moment of initiation, it's an eternal blessing. It's an eternal blessing. That happened because one of my god sisters, Sukha Sajari, that was her name, Sukha Sajari Dasi. She got initiated and Prabhupada gave her beads, and she lost the beads a couple of months later. So she got some new beads and she sent them to Prabhupada, and Prabhupada sent them back with a letter. I was there. She opened the box, there were the new beads Prabhupada chanted on. And in the letter, Prabhupada said, all right, he said, this is the last time I'm going to chant on second set of beads for a disciple. Because so many devotees were losing their beads. So Prabhupada said, this is the last time. He said, but don't worry. He said, at the moment of initiation, you're blessed by your guru with Maha Mantra. And he said, that blessing of the Maha Mantra, I read it in the letter, it's an eternal blessing. Even death, it seems like total forgetfulness, but it's not. Even death doesn't diminish that blessing. It goes on with you birth after birth. And that's only one blessing we have. And many devotees get Gayatri mantras. We have the bhajans. We sing Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari, Gopi Jana Balava Girivara Dhari. We have the songs of Bhaktivinoda Thakur. We have the examples of devotees like Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur reviving Krishna consciousness and starting the mission to send it all over the world. We have books, we have shastras, we have deities, we have dhams, we have the higher goal of life, we have the best associations, we have the coolest dress. We have the best of the best. So we should never lament. We should never lament for what we don't have. We should just remember what we do have. That's enough. It's more than enough, actually. And Rupa Goswami recommends in Padyavali that he has a verse where just as a miser is constantly going to his treasury and counting his coins, devotees should always count their blessings in the form of the mantras they are chanting. And Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, from time to time a devotee should go to some quiet place alone and spend time just chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, and realize that that is the most priceless jewel. If you have $1 million, you don't have to go looking for $10,000 or $50,000. So if you have Maha Mantra, which is non-different than Krishna himself, who's Bhagavan, the owner of all 6 opulences, who's Bhaktivatsala, very kind and very loving to his devotees, what more do you need? This you realize as you grow older. Everything fades away with time, but you've always got that effulgent Maha Mantra. You begin to realize that that's the most important thing that you've got. Nothing in this world compares with that. And that's why we see fully enlightened souls, sadhus, rishis, we see that either by their own will or by the influence of time, everything is taken away from them. I've met so many sadhus. I love the sadhus. Irregardless of what path they're following, they're all transcendentalists. It means they've realized the futility of material existence. They've chosen a particular path. Okay, it may not be bhakti, but they're very much different than the 7 billion people on this planet who are hell-bent for leather to enjoy sense gratification. So I'm always respectful. I don't associate intimately, but I'm respectful to the sadhus. They're not ordinary persons. And you see towards the end of their lives, let's just take Vaishnava sadhus. At the end of their lives, what are they left with? And they're very happy. I know in Vrindavan, I know a number of sadhus, Vaishnava sadhus, Gaudiyas. You don't see them in Loy Bazaar, you don't see them, going to the 12 or the various temples in Vrindavan, 7 major temples. They live in the forest, Kamyavan, Prem Sarovara, Shanket. You see them there. They're sitting and Shantushti, just satisfied. Shantushti. No desires, no regrets. Nothing to gain, nothing to lose. They have everything. And what do they have? They're wearing kopans. They have mala. They have neck beads. Maybe a chadar if it's winter. And they have their mala, which means they have the holy name. And what do? They chant all day. We can't be artificial and imitate, but we can hope that one day we can be like that we can be satisfied with nothing of this world. Nothing of this world, because we've used it well. We're brahmachari. You may be grihastra, wife, family, husband, moved on. We've utilized everything nicely in Krishna's service. But when you're old, there's only one thing to do, and that's to die a glorious death. Remembering Krishna, the result of your bhajan will be determined by your state of mind at the moment of death. So what do those sadhus have? They're just holding on to one thing. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama. And they're chanting so enthusiastically because they know that death could come at any moment. So they want to make sure that either they're chanting or someone's chanting for them. And it doesn't matter how they die. Sadhus don't think about that. They don't make plans. Just to be in the Dham, if possible, but even then, it doesn't matter. Death is never anything pretty. It's a little embarrassing, actually. So therefore, the samurais, The samurai warriors, they say, don't ask me how he died, ask me how he lived. You know, sometimes we remember devotees, they died in a car accident, or they died of corona, or they, you know, our mind is kind of fixed on that last moment. That's not how we should remember devotees, how they leave. To tear the soul from the body, it's not, you have to be very tolerant. So don't ask me how he died or how she died. Ask me how they lived. That's the glory of a Vaishnava, that they dedicated their whole life, their whole meaningful life. Maybe they came around 25 years of age or 50 years. There's some late bloomers, they come at 50 or 60. Doesn't matter. Real life is Krishna consciousness. So your real life may have started when you were 40. You became a devotee. So don't ask me how he died. Ask me how he lived. And we should know that that final exam will come, and you have to be prepared. That's why in school, there's little exams, you know, throughout the year, and the big exam at the end of the year. So little exams are to prepare you for the big exam. So sometimes Krishna sends some difficulties. Sometimes he sends some trauma, sometimes some tragedy. But it's all for a purpose, to prepare us for the final exam, when we have to leave. And if we've been honest and straightforward, tried our best, we chanted and chanted and chanted. Kaler dosha nidhe rajan astika mahavana. Kirtanadeva Krishnasya mukta sangha paramaja. Or Harinam, Harinam, Harinam eva kevalam. Kulo nashteva, nashteva, nashteva gatiranyatha. It said that one should wear the holy names like a garland around one's neck. It's a figurative speech, but I know in the beginning, several of my god sisters, they went to a tattoo, a lot about tattoos anyway, a tattoo place in India, when Prabhupada was here. Kishori, my French god sister, spent a lot of time with Prabhupada. She's perfect, excellent cook. Kishori, Malati, GBC. You look, they have this tattoo around their chest, upper chest, and their neck and back like this. Sometimes you see, like, you can see their neck beads like this. You see a tattoo. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama. Devotees don't generally get tattoos, but anyway, that it looked really cool. A mantra like that, they could remember. Because that, we want to remember that mantra, that is our very life and our very soul. Everything we desire, we don't know what we desire. That's the problem. It's like a baby. Baby doesn't know what it wants to do when it grows up. It just wants to play. So we don't know who we are. We don't know anything like that. We're still learning. But we know one thing, that by chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama. All our desires will be revealed to us, and they will be fulfilled. And what we can give a preview of the transcendental movie that will come before our eyes when we get back to Godhead, we'll realize that we're spirit souls. We realize that we're servants of Krishna, we belong to Krishna. Krishna considers us his. The divine couple consider us theirs. And they've reserved a place for us in Goloka Vrindavan. There's plenty of room up there. Don't think it's like a forest here. It's unlimited forest. Krishna can be anywhere at any time, in many ways, in any of those forests. And he's there for us and we're there for him, and that's the nature of love. So that's our destination. We shouldn't forget that. And therefore we have to chant, chant, chant. And chant means also to serve the holy name and give the holy name to others. That's probably the best way to get the mantra, if you give it to others. And even if we can't we're not conscious at the moment of death. My godbrother Gopaswami is a doctor. He said most people are not conscious. Nature's way, it's so painful. You know, your body just kind of goes into a state where you're not conscious. But Ramanujacharya, he asked Ranganath, the deity, big deity. There's 3 doors to see that one deity, because he's laying down, Ranganath, and Lakshmi is massaging his feet. So you see the head, then you go to the next altar, you see his chest or his abdomen, then you go to the next, you see his lotus feet. I've been there in Sri Rangam. I had a special darshan by Krishna's mercy. So Ramanujacharya, he's speaking with the deity. Prabhupada said, if you think these deities are brass, they'll remain brass to you forever. But if you serve them with devotion, one day, the deity will speak to you. Another miracle that's awaiting us. What does this world have to offer compared to that? That the deity will speak to you? So Ramanuja asked the deity, he said, Lord, if your devotee cannot remember you at the moment of death, what happens? We're always reading in the scripture, we have to remember Krishna at the moment of death. Well, let's be realistic here. Probably saw a lot of people die. So Ranganath, he said, if my devotee cannot remember me at the moment of death, I will remember my devotee. We're covered on all bases. We're covered. Krishna's got our back. Even if we can't remember him, he'll remember us. When Jayananda, my godbrother, passed away, he was alone. Just a tape playing. So Prabhupada wrote him a posthumous letter. He said, so thank you. He'd already gone, but Prabhupada wrote a letter. It's published in BBT, Back to Godhead, BTG. So Prabhupada said, thank you very much. You were the first person to give me a big donation, $5,000, to print my Bhagavad Gita. You organized Rath Yatra. So if you had any material desires, if you still have material desires when you left, Prabhupada said, you've gone to Shwarga. You're not going to be born in Budapest again. You're not going to be born in London. You're going to be born in Skopje. You're not going to be born in Algeria. He said, if you had any material desires, you've gone to Shwarga Loka, and there you can, you fulfill those desires and gradually advance in Krishna consciousness. And from there, not here, from there, you promote yourself to Vaikuntha. Then Prabhupada wrote something really amazing. He said, but because you were hearing the chanting of Hare Krishna when you left this world, I say you have gone to Krishna Loka. And what was he hearing? A tape recording of Prabhupada singing Hare Krishna. These are miracles. We don't have, in Christianity we're impressed, so many miracles. They're right before our eyes. That was the Son of God. We have God himself coming in our sampradaya. So powerful. When my mother died, she was a scientist. Her last few months she became interested in Krishna consciousness. She secretly read the Bhagavad Gita, secretly listened to all of my lectures from those days in the 80s. She had a tape recorder. She put the headphones on, tell my brother go away. She listened to my lectures. That woman would argue with me most of my life about Krishna. There's no God, there's no soul. The final moment, she was reading Gita. She looked up to my brother. Don't lament for me. I'm not the body. I'm a spirit soul. I'm going to Krishna. You tell me where my mother went. She had some shraddha, but she had material desires. But what was on her tongue and what was in her ears and what was in her heart? Krishna. I've been trying 52 years to become Krishna conscious. My mama's a scientist, she's up there already. To have that faith. This is the miracle. So we don't have anything to worry about. What do we have to worry about? We shouldn't worry about anything. Our deliverance is assured if we chant and serve the chanting. Okay, the material desires are there, mental problems, it's insignificant. It's overwhelmed by the tsunami of Mahaprabhu's, of Krishna's mercy, and Mahaprabhu's who's even more merciful, and Srila Prabhupada, well, I can actually say, is more merciful than Lord Chaitanya, because Lord Chaitanya didn't allow ladies to live in the ashram, or go out and preach, or do Harinam, or get Gayatri mantra worship. Prabhupada did all that. Prabhupada's our patron saint, and he'll never forget any service you do for him. Our liberation is assured if you stick on the straight and narrow. That's all you have to do. Stick on the straight and narrow. Don't get intoxicated by any promises. Like if you take intoxication, you drive, the police pull you over. To test you if you're intoxication, they make you walk on a straight line. If you can't walk on the straight line, if you go over, that means you're intoxicated. They give you a ticket or take you to jail. So walk the straight and narrow, as chalked out by Srila Prabhupada. Don't get intoxicated by anything in this world. And you can't walk that straight line. Just stay on the straight and narrow. And even if, for whatever reason, you cannot remember Krishna when you leave this body, Krishna will remember you. And even if you have material desires, go to Shvarga. Not that we want to go there, but it'll be easier. Everything's easy. This material world, everything's a struggle. And because we're in the material world, we think Krishna consciousness is the struggle. It's not a struggle. The struggle is that we're in this world. But due to our immaturity, we think, oh, it's so hard. We're thinking Krishna consciousness is hard. Krishna consciousness is not hard. You don't read anything in Vrindavan that's hard. It's all the land of love and bliss. We think Krishna consciousness is hard because we're in this world and we somehow relate the two. No. This is the life preserver that's been thrown to us in the ocean of material existence. Don't equate the two as being the same. Devotional service and the struggle for material existence. So the Guru, he has to remind us, he has to put everything in perspective. Because we're like children in spiritual life, so we get confused. Like I was given a nice pair of binoculars, because we live on a mountain here. I like to look into the valley, and across there's a big lake there, top of the mountain. But before I use the binoculars, I have to turn this here, and then turn the middle dial, and then, aha, now I see. So when we're seeing this world, it doesn't mean with our eyes, but with our heart, with our emotions. We're looking at the world. We're not seeing it as it is. We have to turn those little dials, and that's Guru. He's passing on the vision that he got from his Guru to Adi Guru. Krishna sees everything perfectly, all phases of time. And we see clearly. And if we don't see it like it's said in the scriptures, it's not the scriptures that are wrong. We're wrong. How could I be wrong? Well, look where you are. What's a nice person like you doing in a place like this? If you're so intelligent, if you're so righteous, then what are you doing here in this miserable world? What is a nice person like you doing in a place like this? So you have to become humble and always accept what the Guru is saying as regards Shastra, philosophy, and follow his example. For the disciple, the Guru is the best devotee. That's why you choose him, because he's the example what you want to be in your Krishna consciousness. And therefore you have to remember him 3 times a day. So your focus becomes clear again. And you have to hear from him. When I wake up in the morning, that's the first thing I think, Prabhupada. So for you, that may be little old me, but mainly Srila Prabhupada, when you wake up, you offer obeisances to your spiritual master and to the founder Acharya of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness, that person at whose feet all masters sit. Paramahamsa, Pari Pachikacharya, Ashtatara Sri Srimad, Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. And we stay on his Jaladuta boat going back to the spiritual world. Like the Christians have the ark, and then all the animals of the world, or at least some of the species, and the humans, they got on the ark. So maybe yes, I'm not going to speak about a tradition I'm not that well versed in, but we know for sure that there was a Jaladuta. And if you miss the boat, like they always say that, don't miss the boat, well then you can take the train. I missed the boat, okay, then take the train. What train? The Vaikuntha Express. Woo woo! Where's it going? It's going to Goloka. It's not going to stop at Indraloka. I want to see. Sorry, get off. Well, I want to get off in Vaikuntha. Okay. But we're going to lock the door so you get all the way to Goloka. And if you miss the boat and you miss the train, then there's the plane. The plane, the Vishnu Dutas will come in a flower airplane from Goloka. They'll pick you up and put you in the flower airplane, like Dhruva and his mother. And then so that transportation is there. You've got the ticket, but don't miss the boat. Don't miss the train, don't miss the plane. How do I do that? Just follow your teacher. One devotee said the other day, he reminded me when we were with Prabhupada on Vrindavan Parikrama. I think that's where I got my taste. We went with Prabhupada on Vrindavan Parikrama. Can you imagine? One day Prabhupada called a few devotees together and we were walking around Vrindavan with Prabhupada. And I remember Prabhupada did a little program and then it was getting dark, so Prabhupada said we should go back to our temple now. So devotees got Prabhupada a rickshaw. So the rickshaw took off and the devotees took off. And I remember I was doing something and all of a sudden there was nobody there and I had to walk through Vrindavan's narrow streets in the dark. I didn't know where I was going. I was walking in circles. And I started running. And it was getting late. And I was all alone. I was getting a little scared actually. And then suddenly Prabhupada's rickshaw, there's a corner, 4 streets come together. And I'm running, and then Prabhupada's rickshaw, boom, I almost bumped into Prabhupada's rickshaw. I said, Srila Prabhupada, I'm so sorry. He said, what are you doing here? I said, Srila Prabhupada, I was at your program, but I got lost. So he said, smile. He said, so if you are lost, you follow me. Remember, I broke down crying. That meant more than just, following Prabhupada to get back to the temple. I took it much more differently. If you are lost, then you follow me. So then the rickshaw took off, and I ran the whole way back. I was a young man, 20, I don't know what, 22 or 21. The rickshaw was going fast. I remember Prabhupada, he looked back one time, and I followed him back to the temple. So I'm convinced, Oma Gyan Timirandasya Ginan Gina Shalakaya Chakshuri Militam Jena Tasmaya Sri Gurave. I who was born in the darkness of ignorance do offer my most respectful obeisances to the lotus feet of my spiritual master, who has opened my eyes with the torchlight of transcendental knowledge. So as I ran behind Prabhupada to get to the temple, I'm running behind him now, shouting, Krishna, Krishna! You have the power. You have Krishna, you have the power to give him to me. And I'm following him by listening to his lectures and following his example, because for me, he is and he will forever be the best example of Krishna consciousness in this world. And I'm sure how wonderful the surprise will be when I get back. I don't know, maybe I'll get back, but if I get back to Godhead and I see my spiritual master in his seva to Radha Shyam, and he says, come, you give that to me and I will give that to them. Then every step will be a dance, every word will be a song, there'll be a festival every day, and the flute will be the constant companion. And I will make sure, I've said this so many times this year, I'll make sure that you're also there, because that's my responsibility. I can't be irresponsible. So the entrusted service I have is to get you all home. So then I won't go back until you're all there. And then I'll be, I said the other day, last man standing. Are they all gone? Yeah, everyone's gone. Okay, then I'll go. And hopefully there'll be a spare plane left, an airplane. And they'll come. And then I'll hide behind some tree or so. I don't want Prabhupada to see me. Yeah. So, thank you for a very nice day. This was all very wonderful. And just thinking of the devotees and thinking of Prabhupada and thinking of the Vishnu Dutas, the Vaikuntha Dutas, and thinking of Radha Shyam and Krishna Balaram and Ramareti and Radhakund and Shyamakund and the 12 forests of Vrindavan and the sub-forests and the aroma of Krishna's transcendental form like aguru and musk and sandalwood and camphor and all these things that we're all learning about, the real things, not the temporary things, but the real things of this world, just makes your heart beat that much stronger. And that lolium, that greed, will get you there. And I'll be with you all the way, I promise. Okay? So thank you, everybody. It's a little late. It's 5 o'clock in India, and I'm going to take a little prasadam, and then I'm going to study. I have to get back to the books. I have to read something so I can say something on the next lecture. What day are we? Sunday. So next lecture is Tuesday. So you have to excuse me, but I'll be back and I'll be sharing with you whatever I've learned and whatever mercy that Prabhupada has given me. I'll just distribute it equally to all of you and hope that he fills me up with some more mercy. Okay? So be jolly, be happy, tolerate, and become very greedy to go back home, back to Godhead. My love and blessings to each and every one of you. Jai Shri Prabhupada ki, the Hungarian Yatra ki, His Holiness Shivaram Swami Maharaj ki, Go Premanandi, Jai Jai Sri Radhe, Shine, shine, shine.
Shila Gurudev for this wonderful talk, and we would like to thank you also for this wonderful days, few hours what we could spend with you. We eagerly waiting that day, that moment when we all we can be together with you and we can sit face to face on your classes and dance on your kirtan. Thank you so much, Shila Gurudev. You changed our life forever. Thank you so much for everything, Shila Gurudev. Love you so much.
Shila Gurudeva ki jai.
Jai Jai Shila Gurudev.
Shila Gurudeva ki jai.
Jai
Gurudev.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Gurudev, annak egy feltűnt. De Gurudev elment. Jaj. Most mi ez? Köszönök mindenkinek mindent, így közben volt egy-két akció, abszolút nem tudtam odafigyelni, de így jó volt.
Mira szuper voltál!
Köszönjük szépen a sok szervezést!
Bocsánat, hogy le kellett váltani.
Semmi baj, az a lényeg, hogy működött, nincs semmi baj, persze.
Ezért mondta Szali,
Yes, well done, Rasangi. I know what you said. She did
de azért
great.
valamennyit tudtál te is fordítani.
Persze, jó volt.
Igazából ne haragudj, de ez lehet, hogy így jó volt, mert akkor a Madhur is tudott egy kicsit fordítani.
Nem volt jó, mert nem voltak meg a fordítások, érted? Én fordítottam, és nem találtam meg, szóval...
Semmi baj, jó volt.
Ja, arra írta, hogy jó lenne a headphone.
Ja.
Bocsánat.
Nem. Az a lényeg, hogy Gurudev hallott meg minden, úgyhogy jó van.
Hallott valamit. Köszönjük szépen.
Say that Rasangi did great translation.
Yay, Gorangi! Hey.
Recording stopped.
And the singing with the guitar, that was
Yeah, it was really lovely. It was nice to see Anuragi. I remember that time when we went in Birmingham. God, I completely forgot it. So yeah, well done, Rasangi. Haribo. Oh, you didn't do it.
Well, I was only reading. I mean, I didn't do much.
At least you were able to read. I wasn't able to read, so yeah, great.
It was mostly Madhuri Mukhi's translations that I read out, so I think
that's all right.
Oh, you couldn't send to Madhuri? Nem tudtátok elküldeni Madhurinak?
Későn jött, de valami érkezett.
Okay.
Well done, Madhuri, then.
Yeah, right. Thank you. Please don't re-listen to it.
Gorangi.
Well done. Hi,
thank you so much, Ananta Prabhu, for everything.
Oh no, I'm used to it.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you. That was amazing.
And sorry for changes and these things like in between.
No, it's all good. It's part of the life. I had to go shopping while Vyasa Puja come back. Shopping, you know, also the life is going on. But yeah, even Gaurangi is here, so that means that Vyasa Puja is successful.
I was working and watching, but yeah.
And Jayasin Prabhu was translating. I saw him.
No, I think. Yeah, we had 1 million Russians listening to it, but translating was great.